Parliament for Bacha and Kabwe, and the member of this committee are welcome.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Tebeta. My name is Tyson Samzingiri, Member of Parliament for Gwembe, and a member of this committee.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning, Tebeta. My name is Chinga Mioto. I represent Kalab Central and a member of this committee.
Good morning. I'm William Major from the Office of the Clerk.
Okay. You may go ahead and introduce yourselves now. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairperson. Thank you for allowing us to come to speak to you. My name is Cleophas Takaiza. I'm the Director General of TVETA. I will ask my colleagues to introduce themselves, starting with the one on my left.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, members. My name is Ocean Matimba. I'm Director in charge of assessments and certification at TVETA.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, members. My name is Rudo Banda. I'm the Director responsible for training standards.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Honorable Members of Parliament. My name is Clive Siachiako. I'm the Manager of Corporate Communications at TVETA. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so when you are here, you are given the immunity through Cap 12 on the basis that what you tell us the truth. And the same Cap 12, if you don't really tell us the truth, it can come to visit you again. So you are given the immunity up to the end of the period of our session. Thank you. You may go ahead and take us through your submission. My name is Amboni Hari. I'm the chair of this committee. You may go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chair and the honorable members, we first of all want to express our gratitude that when we looked at this bill and requested to make a submission, I think it's the second time we are submitting over the same bill. We were happy that most of the things that were of concern have actually been addressed, and that's why our submission today, honorable members and Chairperson, repeating, introducing who we are as TVETA. We find the bill in the content and the state that it's being as regards the qualification framework for Zambia, as it were. Chairperson, we want to submit that we are happy with what is in the bill in the way it is now. I submit.
Members of Parliament. Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson, and thank you so much, TVETA, for your submission. But I just wanted to pose a few questions. Because in the first, I don't know, is this the first time that you are appearing before a Parliament committee?
No, we actually have been appearing, including an appearance over the same bill you were here before. Sorry. Honorable Mshanga, we are here for many other submissions, including the same one. So we are coming second time to talk about the Zapa bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. That said, a follow-up, I think a concern, because when you are appearing before a Parliament committee, there is a memorandum that is given to the witnesses or to the institutions to appear before any Parliament committee. And the standard, usually as per the tradition, is that the witness is supposed to respond to the the contents of the memorandum advanced to them. So we find as a committee your submission, where you're just stating that David finds the bill progressive and comprehensively covers aspects in the education and training. We therefore recommend for its approval, without itemizing what you find a progressive and comprehensive in the memorandum that was advanced to you. Because usually you're supposed to respond to the whole memorandum. So looking at what you've submitted, David, as a committee, we find it not to be very, very serious on your part. Would even conclude as a committee that maybe we didn't even have time to go through the memorandum submitted to you. Or maybe if we can request as a committee, looking at what you submitted before to this committee, what you submitted before and what you've submitted this time around, if we can like compare and contrast, I think there's a very big difference. So we are very much concerned looking at the layout of what you have submitted to the committee. What is it that you have found to be progressive? I submit Honorable Chapa, unless maybe other members have something to.
Yes, please. Honorable Nzinge.
Just an observation from the Director General.
Your mic.
Says they are very happy.
Honorable Nzinge, your mic.
They are very happy with this, the way the bill has been done, and they had issues of concern. The question is, those issues of concern, what are those issues of concern? How have they been handled? One. The second one is that you are denying the other members of this committee who are not privy, because out of these, there are only 3 that were members of the committee at the time that you submitted. The rest, they were not there. So how do they gain from the insights of what you had submitted? Because they should have been privileged also to look at what your concerns and how those concerns have been addressed.
Another honorable members? Huh? Okay. Yeah. I think if we are to take this into the record, it is not comprehensive. And when we are asked to submit, that's totally a different thing again. That bill went, and another one now you're supposed to write, because you say I've never had such a submission in my life of one sentence. Teveta finds the bill progressive and comprehensive, covers aspects, even the aspects are not mentioned. Because we need to know those aspects and training. We therefore recommend its approval. Which aspects are these? What are you recommending for approval? If somebody was just to read this alone, it's not complete. It doesn't say what it's talking about, really. So I think really, for me, we've been in many committees, we've never had such a submission. We've never. If you're asked to write the exam, you can't come again and say, these questions are already answered in that one where we're told to write, so it's correct. What the answers I put here are the ones that are, it's not like that. So I think as a committee, we will ask you to prepare again. Yeah. It's a very serious bill that affects you. You're going to lose revenue. We need to hear what you say. I wasn't there when you submitted, and that's already gone. That's another chapter. This is another chapter. So, and you are very big players in this. You are heavily affected by this bill. So we really need, and that's why we are given the minute here. You really need to tell us the truth, so that when you write a report, it is going to help you. This bill will become law, and it will affect you. And we need to hear how you respond to it. The good aspects and the bad aspects, you must let us know. Just to hand in one sentence, no. So I think you have to come. You have to in written, because in writing, because it has to be, written somewhere, not only orally, So I think I'll end the meeting here, and the conclusion that you go back and prepare again. Yeah. So I will now withdraw the immunity. And I don't know whether you have any comment, but I will now withdraw the immunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. The guidance is clear. We will produce a detailed submission as guided.
Thank you.
You to run us through those preliminary issues before we come Ministry of Finance, so that we just understand and we're on the same page. I'm sure your director PDI, Public Debt and Investment, does affect you some of the things which.
My eParliament mobile application. First, download the app on either Play Store or App Store and install. After installation, open the app. Step 1. Register your personal information, that's your names, gender, NRC, and date of birth. Step 2. Add your contact information, your email, phone number, and home address. Step 3. Select your constituency. Step 4. Create your 4-digit PIN. At this point, the system will send an SMS to your mobile number with a one-time passcode. Step 5. Confirm with one-time passcode that was sent to your mobile. Step 6. Sign in using your phone number and the 4-digit PIN. And Step 7. Create your submission and submit. My eParliament, bringing Parliament closer to you.
unlikely partnership of two crime solvers where trust and teamwork are the keys to cracking each case.
We're all one big happy family.
Immerse yourself in a heartwarming story of friendship and resilience in our newest novella. And for younger viewers, join the adventure beneath the waves, where every tale sparkles with magic and excitement. Enjoy the best brand new entertainment on Good TV. Love it.
This month on DSTV Family, challenge what you know about the Kardashians with this revealing look at the famous family.
Where do we start? Hit me with your best shot.
Celebrate black entertainers and their achievements with the 2024 BET Awards.
Garner Boy. Beyonce.
And join the fun-filled family days with Sonia, Hugo, Mel, and their delightful friends. There's so much to enjoy on your home of entertainment, so upgrade to DSTV Family.
Zambia. Even saying the word is a multi-sensory experience. It somehow captures something of the essence of this special place in the warm heart of southern Africa. Take in the mighty Zambezi River, the majestic Victoria Falls that form Zambia's natural southern border, and the national parks overflowing with wildlife. Immerse yourself in the fast-growing towns and cities, teeming with history, light, and life. Then visit the vast lakes that seem to touch the stars and engage with a plethora of different ethnic groups, cultures, and languages. Together, they make up the intricately woven fabric of this remarkable country. To visit Zambia is to begin a love affair that will never be exhausted, and unlike any that you have ever experienced before. For all the superlatives that man has used in his attempts to describe Victoria Falls, none are able to do this incredible natural wonder justice. You have to see it for yourself. It is a truly awe-inspiring experience. Livingstone, once Zambia's capital, and the Zambian side of the falls have become a mecca for discerning adventure tourists. Peer into the abyss from Devil's Pool at the edge of the falls. Career down the powerful rapids from Batoka Gorge in a whitewater raft. Bungee jump from the historic Victoria Falls Bridge. Or fly over the falls on a flight of angels. Whatever activity you choose, you'll be left with a renewed appreciation for the sheer might of nature. Kafue National Park is amongst the biggest in Africa and is home to more than 130 species of mammal and more than 400 bird species. Enjoy the wildlife from a different perspective on a boat cruise or a canoeing or walking safari. For sheer density of game, South Luangwa National Park is second to none. It certainly lives up to its nickname as the Valley of the Leopard. The stunning Liuwa Plains play host to the world's second largest wildebeest migration, and boast some of the most striking vistas you will see anywhere in Africa. At Kasanka National Park, you can view the largest mammal migration in the world, when each November, literally millions of fruit bats cover the skyline as the sun sets. Zambia's bodies of water are as abundant as its wildlife. Although it is landlocked, this country has more water than any other in Africa. There are the long, meandering rivers, some of which are interspersed by waterfalls that are only narrowly surpassed by Vic Falls. Then there are the lakes, from the vast, remote Lake Tanganyika, far in the north of the country, which is one of Africa's Great Lakes, to Lake Kariba, Africa's biggest man-made dam. Kariba is an increasingly popular beach holiday destination that is strangely reminiscent of the French Riviera. Or for the best bath of your life, visit the incredible Kapisha Hot Springs. Another unique aspect themselves, different do have an go in Zambia. You will meet people who will go out of their way to leave you with a positive impression and make you feel it.
morning, Super, and welcome. My name is Melesiana Piri, Member of Parliament for Milanzi constituency in Katete Eastern Province, and I'm the Vice Chairperson of this committee.
Good morning, witness. I'm a member of Parliament for Magoe constituency and a member of this committee.
Good morning, Zipa. My name is Tuambo Mutinta, Member of Parliament for Itestes constituency in Southern Province. Thank you so much and you're welcome.
Good morning. I'm Honorable Elias Daka, Member of Parliament from Sanzara constituency in the Eastern Province, and I'm a member of this committee. You are welcome. Thank you.
Chair, thank you very much. Good morning to our witnesses. My name is Honorable George Kangwa Chisanga, MP for Krasha constituency in Kasama, and also a member of this committee of Parliament. Thank you, Chair.
You may go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Good morning, Honorable Chair.
Morning.
Thank you for having us. My name is Malindi Msoni Chatoa. I'm the Acting Senior Research Fellow at the Zambia Institute for Policy Analysis and Research. And I'm leading the team this morning. I'll allow the rest of my colleagues to introduce themselves before we proceed. Thank you.
Good morning, Honorable Chair. Good morning, Honorable Members.
Morning.
I am Sidney Suhua, a Research Fellow in the Human Development Unit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Honorable Chair. Good morning, Honorable Members of Parliament. My name is Leah Chukwekwe, Researcher in the Human Development Unit.
First, you can use one of the mics here to come.
Okay. Good morning, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. My name is Molwa Banda, a researcher from the Human Development Unit at ZIPA.
Thank you.
Good morning, Honorable Chair. Good morning, Honorable Members. My name is Molly Ngoma, a researcher in the Unit of Public Finance.
Good morning, Honorable Chair. Good morning, Honorable Members. My name is Esther Gilala, and I'm a researcher under Emerging Things Unit.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, well, I like your composition where there are more women. It's not very common.
Thank you.
Well appreciated. Yes. Yeah, when you're here, you're expected to tell us really the truth without fears. You know. So you are given immunity on the basis that what you tell us, and that whatever you tell us, for as long as the truth, you cannot be taken to court or to task. So through Cap 12, you are given that immunity, and the same Cap 12, if you don't tell us the truth, can come to tell you again. So you are given that immunity up to the end of this meeting. You may go ahead and pass us through your paper. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. You agree with me that the enhancement of education remains a cornerstone of Zambia's long-term development goals, and we recognize that strengthening the legal framework governing key institutions such as the Zambia Qualifications Authority is vital to achieving our long-term goals for education. And it's also essential to support the institution's efforts to elevate educational standards and practices in alignment with global and regional trends. So at ZIPA, we are very excited to be given an opportunity to actually contribute our thoughts to the amended bill. And in our submission this morning, we try our best to highlight the key changes in the bill, the implications, as well as the alignment with regional and global commitments. So to take us through the specifics of our submission, let me hand over to my colleague.
You may go ahead.
As highlighted, the Zambia Qualifications Authority Bill 2024 repeals the Zambia Qualifications Authority Act 2011 and introduces several changes that are aimed at redefining the functions and structure of the Zambia Qualifications Authority, ZACA. The spirit of the amendment, Honorable Chair, is premised on the following issues. Number one, to continue the existence of ZACA, or Zambia Qualifications Authority, and redefine its functions. Number two, to provide the development, provide for the development of development and implementation of the national qualifications framework. Number three, to provide for the verification and evaluation of qualifications. And number four, to constitute the board of the Zambia Qualifications Authority. Number five, to repeal and replace the Zambia Qualifications Authority Act 2011. Honorable Chair, I must mention that the ZACA Amendment Bill 2024 is timely as Zambia continues to increase investment in quality education to ensure better outcomes. And this is envisaged in the 8th National Development Plan of our country. To just highlight some of the changes to the 2011 Act, which are allow me put or present salient changes that are in the bill.
Go ahead.
The new bill, or the bill, continues the existence of ZACA and redefines its functions to include the development and implementation of the National Qualifications Framework, registration of the qualifications and verification, and evaluation of qualifications. The old Act, or the Act 2011, generally is not very explicit on this. It broadly mentions the role of ZACA in coordinating and overseeing qualifications without detailing specific responsibilities related to the National Qualifications Framework. The implication of this, Honorable Chair, is that by explicitly focusing on the National Qualifications Framework, the bill aims to enhance comparability, quality, and transparency of qualifications, promoting lifelong learning and regional cooperation. In terms of board and governance, the changes, the bill in Section 45 of Part 7 specifies that the current board members will continue to hold office for 6 months after the commencement of the new Act, after which the Minister will appoint new board members in accordance with the new provisions. Again, the 2011 Act did not provide such transitional arrangements explicitly. The implication of this, Honorable Chairperson, is that it ensures governance continuity, which is essential for the steady implementation of new functions and alignment with international standards such as those outlined in UNESCO. Employment continuity and rights, the changes. The bill again in Section 45 of Part 7 further states that employees of the former authority will continue to be employed under the new Act, with their service considered continuous. The old Act, Honorable Chairperson, did not have explicit provisions of the continuity of employment in the event of legislative changes. The implication is that by securing employment continuity, the new Act helps maintain institutional knowledge and stability, crucial for ongoing projects and alignment with international qualifications framework, such as the UNESCO Qualifications Passport. Transfer of assets and liabilities. The bill, Honorable Chairperson, mandates all assets, rights, liabilities, and obligations of the former authority to be transferred to the new authority without further assurance, ensuring smooth transition. The old Act lacked detailed provisions for the transfer of assets and liabilities in case of its repeal. The implication, Honorable Chairperson, is that this provision ensures operational continuity and stability, facilitating seamless implementation of regional and international education commitments. Regulatory powers. The changes there, Honorable Chairperson, the bill grants the Minister the power to make regulations for the better carrying out of its provisions, including fees, registration procedures, and the validity of certificates. Again, the old Act provided regulatory powers, but the new Act outlines these powers with greater specificity. The implication is that this strengthens the strengthened regulatory powers enable the Minister to better align Zambia's qualifications framework with regional and international standards, ensuring high-quality education and comparability of qualifications. Legal proceedings. The new Act, Honorable Chairperson, states that any legal proceedings involving the former authority can be continued or against the new authority, ensuring legal continuity. The implication is that legal continuity ensures that ongoing initiatives and collaborations, especially those related to international agreements and commitments, are not disrupted. The bill, Honorable Chairperson, also aligns Zambia's qualifications with those of other international jurisdictions. For instance, Zambia, Honorable Chairperson, is signatory to many international accords, including the Southern African Development Community Qualifications Framework, the African Continental Qualifications Framework, the UNESCO and International Standards Classifications of Education, UNESCO Qualifications Passport, Sustainable Development Goals, and many others, to highlight just a few. The new Act, Honorable Chairperson, makes emphasis on developing and implementing the National Qualifications Framework, which aligns with the Southern African Development Community Qualifications Framework. The objectives and promoting the transfer of credits within and among member states. This harmonization, Chairperson, is essential for facilitating regional mobility and employment opportunities. The new Act also supports the African Continental Qualifications Framework's vision of inclusiveness and comparability of qualifications. By ensuring a robust national qualifications framework, the Act contributes to the transparency and equality of Zambian qualifications, promoting cooperation with other African nations. The detailed regulatory powers and focus on qualifications verification and evaluation under the new Act align with UNESCO and International Standards classification of education. This alignment, Honorable Chairperson, ensures that Zambia's educational activities and resulting qualifications meet internationally agreed standards. Further, by recognizing and integrating the principles of UNESCO Qualifications Passport, the new Act facilitates access for refugees and vulnerable immigrants to higher education and employment opportunities. Further, Honorable Chairperson, the Act supports SDG 4 for quality education by ensuring that Zambia's qualifications framework promotes high quality, inclusive education. This alignment is crucial for achieving affordable and quality education for all learners, contributing to Zambia's Vision 2030. In conclusion, honorable members, honorable chairperson, the Zambia Qualifications Authority Bill 2024 introduces significant changes aimed at redefining and enhancing the functions of ZACA by ensuring continuity, providing detailed regulatory powers, and emphasizing a comprehensive national qualifications framework. The new act aligns with Zambia's regional and international commitments to improving qualifications assurance and inclusive education. This honorable chairperson, these provisions benefit both the authority itself and its stakeholders, enhancing quality and comparability of Zambian qualifications. I submit to honorable chairperson.
Thank you very much. Members of Parliament, if you seek any clarifications or questions, you may go ahead, please. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair, very much. Thank you, witnesses, for submission. I just wanted to ask a question. It's something I didn't pick, I think, in your submission. I think I'll take you on the basis that you are a research institution. Of course, there's been suggestion that this new proposed amendment is going to align our ZACA qualification system with the other qualification institutions within the region. I wanted to find out, as Zambia, if you conducted any comparative studies, especially on the African continent, and if you did, how does it inform you? How much improvement have we done in comparison to other qualification authorities within the SADC region, and especially and also by extension in Africa? Thank you, Chair.
Another question? Okay, you may go ahead with that one. You may go ahead and answer the question.
So, in terms of the new act, honorable chairperson, you may be aware that South Africa is one country that has a qualification framework that, in this case, with this new act, we align at par with South Africa. We didn't do any major comparisons with other jurisdictions, but we are aware that many countries in the region, South Africa is a very good example, have a qualifications authority that oversees evaluation and verification of all qualifications that come into the country. And this is very, very important, even in terms of regulating what sort of qualifications that we have and aligning them with internationally recognized standards. I think this is very, very important. I submit.
But also, maybe just to add before you come in, I think I take note of your contribution that perhaps it's important that we do that comparative analysis, and why we also like to engage with members of parliament like this is also to get an idea of what kind of material you'd need additional information on. So we've taken note of that and we'll try to incorporate it into our work plan. So thank you very much.
Thank you for your submission. In this bill that we are, in the new bill, I've seen there are some penalties that are going to be effected in those who are going to be employing people with fake certificates. And also the same person who fake his qualification is also going to be penalized. What is your observation and what can you advise this committee? Because other stakeholders have submitted to say, yeah, it is good that both can be penalized and be criminalized qualification. For me, those are genuine things. I'm not supposed to take those qualifications again for verification because that is not my job. My job is to employ someone. What is your take on that clause? I submit. Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I take it that the efforts to ensure that our qualifications, our systems, to ensure quality in our frameworks, in our system, in our country, to ensure that all qualifications that people attain are genuine and have gone through the required vetting processes. I don't think this is something that can be achieved by one institution. I think we are all stakeholders in ensuring that adherence to standards is priority. So our take, Honourable Member, is that employees as well as employers, the that they are recruiting have the right. Our submission, Honourable Member, is that in order for penalties to extend
let me phrase it like this. If I have a grade 12, which is the first one, then a university like University of Zambia enroll me, then I managed to pass and get a degree. But this bill is not curing that problem because they can't cancel my degree. Although the foundation was forged, but my degree will be genuine. So is this bill curing this challenge that we have now? I submit.
Thank you very much. That's a very interesting question, Honourable Member. We take it that the process as well as the outcome are just as important. And therefore, in such circumstances, Honourable Member, Honourable Chairperson, I think the bill is still in order to meet punishment for such cases. Because, first of all,
what kind of punishment?
The same punitive measures that are put in the bill right now, that the bill proposes. I think implicitly it does, by extending punishment to both employers and employees. In this case, take a step to ensure that they were enrolling somebody who had wrong qualifications. Then there are also I think the punishment to such scenarios.
Yeah, but you see, if a certificate can be forged, even a ZACO clearance which says this is a correct whatever can also be forged. And we are talking of like University of Zambia getting so many students, so many applications from all over the country. Now the question is, how then do they have, because the only way you can actually get to know that this qualification is the correct one is by you again submitting to ZACO, which means putting another financial burden on the institution. Because if they can afford a certificate, it is more sophisticated than what possibly ZACO will give as a clearance that this is a genuine verification. So that verification can also be forged equally. Martel will have it immediately it is out, they will have it also. And so I'm receiving, I'm an employer, so many applications, 2,000, 80,000, like ZRA when they are advertising for just 11 positions, they will have 80,000 applicants. And we don't have a system where they can immediately get to know whether this is true or not. And then you punish that employer for, I think it has to be really considered. And even when you are putting this ZACO to be going to say, because when you make laws, you will find because of trying to curb one problem, you actually create a bigger problem. Now, in this bill, you are saying ZACO, I don't know their capacity, and nobody talks about it. That all qualifications or all grade 12s who want to go for further training, they have to have their papers verified by ZACO. Okay? And material will also come in there. And so the capacity, this is what I want to know, because I really would have loved to see the capacity of ZACO. We have a problem in this country. You put these systems very quickly, and you don't do the due diligence to make them really very effective. You will find you go to RATSA, you want to get your license, 2 weeks the system is down. And South Africa, talking about South Africa, they're very effective. Very effective. In terms of systems, we can't compare to us. Even when we are clearing the car, if they tell you it's 2 days, exactly 2 days you get your results. You don't have to go to the border, but you just push in your papers. After 2 days, you get the results. That's the way it should be. Now here with load shedding, people have so many good excuses. And then within this bill, I put that the ZACO will have a latitude of 14 days. And nobody's talking about that. 14 days in which to give me feedback. Why should they be given that much time? I need the results immediately. Maybe the deadline is tomorrow, the other time. It's within 3-4 days. See, and these are things that we're supposed to look at really practically. I had one Zambian and was doing interviews here. After the interviews, the results came after 3 months. Then they said second interview, 6 months interview one person. And I was wondering, because I was living in a developed world. When the developed world, you have the interviews today, the following day you get the results. Maybe the 4th day you begin to work. Here, 6 months to follow the normal process. So really, I think these are some, because we're putting that now, and it's now mandatory. And when it's mandatory, we're not looking at the capacity that is on the ground. And now we also want to add the employer also. And then I would have loved you to comment also on some institutions like the Examination Council of Zambia. They were getting finances from that. And they were the ones that actually, it's one institution where the government was giving very little money. And now we're taking away their money from all these institutions. ZACO is supposed to be analyzed. Comparing to South Africa or other countries, when they have got the facilities to effect this. It's like saying every district should buy an airplane when there are no airports, no airstrips. And then you make that law that each district will have to be given a plane. When you see, so these are some of the things that we need to look at. I don't know what your comments are.
Hasn't held in the past is that I think the relevance of ZACA hasn't been well understood by other stakeholders, and I'm happy that Sydney emphasized the point that improving or enhancing our educational qualifications will take the collaborative effort of different institutions. The issue that you raised that students are being enrolled with fake qualifications maybe requires that we actually understand why in the first place we are forging qualifications. And then also, this bill solidifies ZACA's role in the sector. So it removes that has to be now supported with the necessary resources for them to be able to undertake.
You have, I think, highlighted Chairperson, we do not the capacity of ZACA, and as we were going through the paper, it's just that we couldn't put everything together in a short time, but capacity. You will be able to see my qualifications there and my name. So it's a matter of just us putting things together, and with time, the execution is always a difficult time. It's difficult. Resource-wise, ZACA requires adequate funding to be able to handle this mandate that it has been given. However, that shouldn't take away the fact that we need to go this direction in order for us to enhance qualifications or the quality of our education in this country. I submit, Chairperson.
Yeah, but I find it interesting where you're saying, however, we need to go this way. So we put this law now. It's in effect, it starts working. And then we have a congestion of all these creditors, all these people. And they can't have their results come on time. And so that is fine. You talk about Manchester, there is a system there. You said you put in within the same day, 15 minutes, you have the results. Are you going to have them now? Because look here, it's like if you go to UK or South Africa, there are trains that can go in 1 hour, 250 kilometers, electric trains. But we don't have them here. And you put a rule that you should all reach by this time based on things that are not there on the ground. And that's what brings in corruption now. When the system is not effective and people are in a hurry, they begin to bribe. Do it fast, do it fast, here's something. When the system is very effective, there's no need, straightforward, predictable, no need of this forgery that we are talking about. I don't know.
Your concerns are very valid, and I mean we have so many examples of how a failed system can actually worsen certain problems. But I think just to emphasize that even the South African Qualifications Authority had to start from somewhere. I studied in South Africa myself, and I had to get clearance from the South African Qualifications Communications Authority. And at the time, it took almost a month for me to get my clearance. But if you're applying now, it's a different situation. It's much faster. So we have revised this bill. We have brought certain rules on board. We have to provide ZACA the necessary resources, both technical, both financial. There will be some lessons learned, there will be some mistakes made, and that's why this document has to continue living. It has to be revised to take into account any new challenges that come up. The same, some institutions will have to change their roles to support what ZACA now has to do. So it's, my point is, we have to start from somewhere. This is the direction that many countries have taken in the region. We have made commitments to certain regional and global bodies, so we have to make this move. But we have to provide the necessary support that this institution needs. And it's not going to happen immediately. We will not be making milestones immediately. There will have to be some mistakes made, some lessons learned, but we need to keep adapting. That's my submission.
Yeah, and just thank you. But you know, if it begins to be defied like that, you need to begin to compromise. That's what makes even some of our laws not even being heard. You know, where shortcuts are made. I think even you as a research, in your research, you should have taken time to go and see at what level ZACA is. Yeah, you should have gone. That's what research is, not only downloading and pasting. No, you should have gone to ZACA and see how ready they are to implement this law. What should come first is the systems first. Once the systems are effective, the law comes. This law is a very practical one, which affects each and every human being. All the youth that we have, all from all these schools, immediately we put it now this year, next year, all of them will need the service of ZACA. Universities, so it's not like these are laws that you read, and this is why, for me, we should have really had, you as ZACA, as ZIPA should have really taken a bit of interest to go and see how ready they are.
Maybe I may add on that, Chair. The questions you're asking are some of the questions we've asked ourselves as researchers, and one would have loved to actually visit ZACA, but the time within which we received this request and the time that we had to make this appearance, it was not possible for us to do that kind of assessment. But we've taken note that there is a need for us to delve deeper into this issue and actually try and discover what the capacity or operational challenges are at ZACA, so that we can provide, the necessary advice for them to improve their operations. So we've taken note of that, and we'll try to incorporate that into our work plan. Thank you.
Yes,
thank you, Chair. It's just an issue that I want to get clarity on. You addressed the committee on matters of both corporate governance and board changes. I want to marry that with the new regime that is being introduced by this bill on the authority for registration for qualifications. The proposed section 22 mandates the awarding body to apply to the authority for registration of a qualification on the National Qualifications Framework. This actually changes the regime of recognition. You were quite happy with the transitional provisions that are contained on board matters, in that this board, which is currently in place, is going to remain in place for the next 6 months, and the minister then will exercise his powers statutory to appoint or to constitute a new board. I wanted to just find out if you have looked at the new composition of the board, taking into account the expected provisions of section 22, because, like the chair said, this now changes. There are other players within the qualification framework that had roles to play in the previous statute, which roles have now been directly given to ZACA because it will be doing authorization or recognition directly. Having looked at the new composition of the board, if you have, are you happy that the other stakeholders within this framework will have a vital role to play in ensuring that the objectives of the statutes are actually met? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Yes, we did look at the composition of the board, and largely the bill puts it categorically that the composition of the board will be multi-sectoral. So in that regard, I think all the members that are in the board will be able to play a vital role in there. So I think we are satisfied with what the bill provides in terms of composition of the board. Thank you.
What does it provide? How many members?
I cannot specifically remember the number. However, institutions are spelled out where each member is going to be coming from. It adds the Attorney General, Federation of Employers as well is one of the institutions that have been brought on board. So I think the composition is actually representative. Thank you.
Well, yeah, because you see, and those are very important questions. Initially, the board members were men. Now that you have given them more responsibility, the board members have been reduced. And sure, you are supposed to comment. Just to say that it is fine, why were they men in the first place when they had less responsibility?
I think what the bill does now is that it brings key stakeholders like employers, and if you are going to have a qualification that education has evolved, and the quality that we offer is supposed to meet the needs of industry as well. So we're bringing on board of these multi-sectoral or diverse stakeholders. I think is helpful in terms of ensuring that the qualifications or there's quality assurance in the process.
Yes, please.
I have another very different out of what. Yeah. In this same bill, Chair, yesterday when we had the other stakeholders, I was just trying to find in the bill, but I couldn't get it. But they are saying this punishment to the one who is going to provide the fake certificate and what, it will not apply to private private institution, but it will be just for public institution. Now, I don't know with you as the researchers whether you have taken time that this law we are trying to recommend for approval, that which is just going to look at one sector and leave the others, because you and me, we are taking our children to private schools, and that's where fake results are being manipulated, and then they are left scot-free. I don't know whether you have taken time to research on that. How are other countries doing it? Are they just concentrating on the public or including the private companies and institutions? I submit here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. As stated, there's more work. We agree that there's more work that needs to be done in terms of reviewing what the bill brings on board. But overall, it's a good start. That's what I would say.
Okay. Now, I wanted you just to comment on the board. I don't know where here is written that is a representative of the Attorney General. A person nominated from Representative Federation is all representative. I wanted you to comment on of the board. Because I don't know, I've seen a lot of funny things happen with a lot of boards. And because of the way because the board sometimes they make very bad decisions and the whole institution suffers. You know, and when a chairperson is appointed, it means it's untouchable. It's untouchable completely. And we're making this law, I don't know. And then these representatives, are they going to be the same, or they just send any representative to the board?
I think the bill is not explicit in terms of whether these will be the same individuals, but I think what it does is that these are offsets, representatives of the Attorney General.
My point is within the office, because there are men that can have 5, 6. Will it be the same person in the board when it comes, or anybody I can send anybody? Like I have here 4 members of parliament, so I can send anybody. That's my question.
So I appreciate your question, Honorable Chairperson. What I'm saying is that the bill isn't explicit whether these will be the same persons that will be sent there.
Yes.
Well, maybe for purpose of concluding this discussion, would you be in a position to recommend to this committee that such persons who are nominated, for instance, by the Attorney General, must be nominated for a tenure? So that we probably recommend into the statute itself that the statute must be very clear that the nominee for the Attorney General shall remain for the period that a board appointment is actually made. Because what the chairman is worried about is that you would have the Attorney General changing people who are appearing in the board activities. In the next board meeting, another lawyer comes through. The other board meeting, there's no continuity and there's no institution memory that isn't created. So would your research institution be ready to recommend to this committee that maybe those nominees must be appointed for a period? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I think let me add to this discussion. I won't rush to recommend. I think if you can allow us some time to go back and look at it in a bit more detail, but my interaction with other bills is that sometimes the acts can be very clear on the officials that need to come from certain institutions. So without having looked at it in more detail, I would say perhaps more clarity should be given on which officials from which institution should be represented on the board. Although there are times when it's not all institutions where the personnel are actually specified in the bill. Especially maybe for institutions like maybe the Zambia Federation for Employers, you write to the institution and they nominate a member. But then there are certain key institutions where you can specify whether it's a permanent secretary, if it's a ministry, or the director general for other government agencies. The bill can provide more clarity. But I think if we can allow us a bit more time to go back and we can send a recommendation. Otherwise, at this point in time, we can't make that recommendation. Thank you.
Permanent witness, something to say?
Yes, Chairperson. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I did not introduce myself and anything. I'll begin from there. My name is Joyce Chiro from the Ministry of Justice, and I'm Parliamentary Counsel sitting in this committee as a permanent witness. I would just like to speak to the matter of the boards, and I think I'd like to start by saying that it is standard practice of drafting that we draft that way. And to answer the question by the chair and honorable here, I'd like us to read the bill in clause 9, which provides for the tenure. And it reads as follows. It says, subject to the provisions of this Act, a member shall hold office. This is a member who has been appointed by the minister, one of the representatives, shall hold office for a period of 3 years from the date of appointment and may be reappointed for a further and final period of 3 years. Clause 2 says, the office of a member becomes vacant if that member A dies, B is absent from 3 consecutive meetings of the board, of which that member has had notice without prior approval of the authority. C. Ceases to be a representative of the ministry, institution, organization that nominated or appointed that member of the board. D. Is declared bankrupt. E. Resigns by giving 1 month's notice in writing to the minister. F. Is legally disqualified from performing the functions of a member. And G. Is convicted of an offense under any other law and is sentenced to imprisonment for a term exceeding 6 months without an option of a fine. It goes on and on, but I think what we can get from there, and the practice that I've seen at the office, is when a member from the Attorney General's chambers is nominated to sit on a board, that member is the one who sits on the board as a representative throughout the tenure of the office. I don't want to mention names and which boards members sit on, but that is the practice, because this is what is the implication of the drafting here. When it talks about the member, it's the member, the person, and not, changing. I don't know if that clarifies the issue. Maybe also to speak to another issue about how the memorandum was drafted from Ministry of Justice. I would like to read the memorandum that was sent to us, and believe it or not, we are drafters, and so I'll read a portion of it. So it says, as part of the consultative process, the committee is resolved to request you to submit 12 copies of memoranda on the ramifications of the bill being proposed. But it doesn't say anything about the act that is in force, and it talks about the bill. And what we usually do as standard practice is to prepare an explanatory memoranda, because we have drafted this bill. Each and every clause and its ramifications are explained, and that's basically how we did it. So I would like to state that if the committee had requested us as justice to do a comparative analysis of the proposed bill and the current statute, we would have done it differently. But because of the instruction that was sent, we had done what we had done. I think that's basically what. Thank you.
We're going to deep, so I think we've got also looking for their permanent, at least from your explanation. Zipa, I'd like to thank you for coming, and you have assured us you check on the capacity. Let's put pressure so that everything is in place. Yeah, because this bill is affecting our children, everybody else. Yeah, so there will be really a huge turnout. They need to do their homework. If it doesn't, then everything will crumble, and it will be very difficult to implement the law when the gadget's down. You know what I'm talking about. The start should always be very good. The first cut is the deepest. If your hair is very long, and I've seen it must stay like that for the next 50 years. It's a joke. So thank you very much for coming. And now that we've come to the end, I withdraw the immunity that you are granted. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and we'll continue to engage on this.
can now advertise on Parliament Television and Parliament Radio. For more information, call 0977 854102 or 0977 536487. Parliament Television, bringing Parliament closer to you.
DSTV Access. Swim along with Ariel as she explores all that Atlantica has to offer. Experience the guts and the glory as the continent's best teams go head-to-head in UEFA Euro 2024. And watch cultures collide as an injured woman falls in love with a fine man despite their family's misgivings. There's so much to enjoy on your home of entertainment, so stay connected to DSTV Access.
Katuba constituency lies west of Lusaka and is the first entry into Central Province on the Great North Road. Katuba derives its name from Gutuba, meaning white sand. The constituency is mostly rural and experiencing rapid growth in real estate development and smallholder farms. There are also a few factories that have come up in the past few years. In order to bridge the gap between the area member of parliament and the constituent, a constituency office was established in 2009. Mr. Mawashi Kulokusa is Katuba Member of Parliament, elected in 2021. He now runs through the members of parliament that have served before him.
I'm the number 8 member of parliament. The first one in this advantage when Katuba was annexed from Keme, because it used to be one constituent, which we call the first member of parliament for Katuba is Mr. Laima, who is no more. He served up to around 1978, from about 1974-75, when the second member of parliament, Mrs. Muyunda Nevis, came in. She's the longest member of parliament to have served Katuba. in 1991 when Gilbert Mungulu became the third member of parliament. And then we had Mr. Shakafuswa, Jonas Shakafuswa, who in 2001, when UPND was formed and contested the first time, it picked the seat under the UPND with Mr. Jonas Shakafuswa, who became the fourth member of parliament. And after Jonas came Mr. Chikusu, Dr. Chikusu, who became the fifth member of parliament. Served just for a while, unfortunately he died. And then of course in 2016 came a lady again, Patricia Mashingwere, who I'm sure you saw also serve just for a short period of time, didn't finish her term. She passed on. She was the 60th member of parliament. And then in 2019, when she passed on, Honorable Bambika Pass took over to finish her term up to 2021.
The Katua lawmaker now gives a general overview of Katua constituency.
Katua is a very able constituency, if you like. Of course, it's defined as a rural constituency, but because of the, before there used to be urban migration, people moving from rural to the urban areas, but we are experiencing rural migration, where people are moving so much from the urban areas into rural. And Katua has been one of those that has become one of the main targets by many people wanting to settle because of its proximity to Lusaka. It is mainly the main activities in Katua is agriculture. It has always been an agricultural center, part of Central Province. It is surrounded by Kembe on the northern side, by Chisamba on the east. On the east there is Chisamba and Chongwe, which also gets into Mandevu, and then we share also with Matero, Chilanga, Mwembeshi, Nangoma, and we go and share with Mumbwa. So we are somehow in between. It's quite wide in terms of the length, almost 120-130 kilometers in the length, and about 80 in some areas, about 70-50 kilometers in the width. So it's quite a vast constituency that now is experiencing two types of life: the peri-urban life on the eastern side and the typical rural life on the western side. Yeah.
Challenges faced by people in rural areas are quite similar, as Mr. Blokusa explains.
Any other rural constituency, we are usually within what many rural constituencies face, which are mainly 5 major challenges that are always targeted. Number one is the availability of schools. We have quite a number of primary schools, but we have very few secondary schools. This time at least we have about 1-2. Now you can imagine for such a vast constituency to have only 1-2 secondary schools. It's a big challenge. But also the infrastructure of these schools, especially primary schools. The infrastructure is quite dilapidated. Many of the students or the pupils are sitting on the floor. We have a huge challenge to ensure that we provide desks, we improve some of the infrastructure. Katua is a place where you will go to a school and you find that there is a house for a teacher that was built in 60s, cracked and all those things. So that has always been a challenge from the education sector. Chifankula Primary School, they are very lucky people. I'm sure if you should take a second visit, it's now one of the best schools that has worked, thanks to a church called the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We partnered with them. That roof that was blown off was rehabilitated. They are now building 3 blocks of each block has 3 classrooms. They also completed one of the 1x3 classroom blocks that was started. So I can rest assure you, if you go to Chifankula now, they are one of the lucky schools that we partnered with an NGO, a church, which came to help us. But there are many other schools that could be in the state of the way you found Chifankula before, that also require attention from us. The second is the health sector. First of all, Katua had never had a hospital, whether a mini hospital, a level 1 hospital. We've only had the health posts that are so distant from the communities, and so that is a challenge because people have to walk distances. We thank the government now that they gave me a hospital, a level 1 hospital, which is under construction now. We are hoping that it will finish very soon. It will be the first ever in Katua, despite the proximity of Katua being near to Lusaka. Apart from one trunk road which passes through Katua going to connect with Kembe, all other roads are almost impossible. They are very bad. And so some of them have been abandoned because it's almost impossible to drive on those roads. So because of that, we have also targeted road infrastructure to be one of the issues to be addressed, so that at least people can access. When you talk of road infrastructure, there are few streams in Katua, rivers and streams, and so you find that there are a lot of issues of bridges, collapsing of bridges. Pupils can't cross to go to school because this bridge has collapsed, and all that is falling under road infrastructure that we are trying to look at. One of the challenges that we are looking at. We have embarked on a project we are calling Electrify Katua, where we have identified 36 electrification points that are public in nature. These are schools, health centers, and community schools. And we are trying to see how, if we take electricity to those areas, for example, for pupils, they are now doing a lot of ICT courses, but they don't have the infrastructure to demonstrate the ICT. All they are doing is theory. So we are hoping that once electricity comes to most parts of Katua, then more especially to schools and the health centers, then it is going to be a catalyst for development and increase the level of investment. Because many people, once you do the road, the Chinese actually were saying, take a road to an area, take electricity, then you will have taken development. You investors will now go and put your own development there. Katua is an agricultural center. We do a lot of agriculture. We don't have so much commercial farming in Katua, but we have a lot of peasant and improved farming. And so you find that we need a lot of agricultural extension services. Animals sometimes die of corridor diseases, and so we need a lot of agricultural services from the government to provide those extension services for agriculture. Deeping issues, prevention of diseases to animals, what type of crops to plant, gardening, and all those things. And so we believe that because we are near to Lusaka, once those services are there, a lot of people are going to venture into agriculture, more especially at improved level, and that is going to change the lifestyle of the people and the income levels of the people. We have actually an association, we formed a public-private partnership association, which is called the Katua Public-Private Partnership Association. Currently, it is being chaired by Mount Meru. Mount Meru, as you go to Katua towards the toll gate, there is a huge manufacturing plant on your right, and and that is the chair currently of that association. It was purely my initiative to try and bring the private sector together, a coordinated approach of how we can deal with the private sector.
The Katuba lawmaker is passionate about changing the lives of the people of Katuba.
The word of encouragement for me is that Katuba must be a little bit patient. The agenda, the real agenda for development has just started. We are, in terms of CDF, we are just months, not even a year. And in terms of government, we are just above a year. And when the CDF started coming, there was a lot of problems. And like it comes with a few challenges. We have learned the ropes. We have now a learning curve to implement. Like for example, now next month we are starting to sit to plan for the CDF 2023. That is how much we want to be ahead of time. So a little bit of patience. Rome was not built in a day. The infrastructure was so dilapidated, it can be built in 1 month. But I can rest assure them that where the investment for CDF is going to go in the next 3 years, definitely they will see change. And that will be the basis for them to think whether I am a good captain to continue paddling the ship, or I'm a wrong one for somebody else to come in. But it's all up to them. We need to reach that point.
Mr. Justin Mafuta is a professional assistant for Katuba Constituency Office.
Well, my major objective as a professional assistant is to facilitate the work of a member of parliament in the constituency. As you may be aware, the roles of the MP, one is to represent the people in the constituency. So my major role is to facilitate the work of the MP in the constituency.
Mr. Mafuta encourages Katuba constituents to make use of the constituency office so as to improve the constituent member relations.
The major reason why people should visit or come to their constituency is number one is to have an engagement with their lawmaker or their representative. There should be an interaction between the member who is the MP of the constituency as well as the constituents, in line to say, because as long as there's no dialogue between the MP as well as the constituents, tangible developments cannot be achieved. Also, one thing also I want to make mention, dialogue should be a two-way thing, in the sense that the constituents, they engage the MP because one of the major roles of the MP is to represent the people in the constituency. So once there's that engagement in terms of interaction, the MP picks everything that the people of the constituency have told him to go and request on behalf of the people to the executive, which in this case the ruling. Also, this office acts as an information hub, in the sense that once the MP gets information, he also conveys the message back to the people in terms of a policy direction from the government. So it has to be a two-way attire in terms of the interaction.
A constituency office is a goal of parliamentary improvement aimed at taking parliament closer to the people.
Honorable Dr. Ron Mwanza is a area member of parliament for Kaumbwe constituency. Was born and bred in Kaumbwe constituency at the village Manjavantu, and did his primary school at Manjavantu Primary School, went to secondary school at Chasa Boys, and then went to the University of Zambia. He did civil engineering. I did so well at UNZA, and I was retained as a lecturer in engineering, and then I went for master degree in China. I did in the of civil engineering. So after completing my master degree in China, I came back, taught at the University of Zambia again, and then I went for my PhD again to China in the same field of civil engineering. My expertise are in roads and railway engineering. And then I completed my PhD in 2012. After completing my PhD in 2012, I was employed by China Railways in China, and I've had a lot of international exposure in highway and road development projects that have been like government to government, China and African governments, and also European, some South American countries, also to say developing nations. I have 26 years of experience in this field. And on the local front, I participated in the designs for the greatest road from Luangwa Bridge up to Mami border, Mongu Senanga Road, talk about Road T2 from Kapiri to Serenje, also so many road projects in the country, as well as railway projects. Railway projects on the railway front. On the railway front, while working in China with China Railways, I headed the project to have a line connected from Eastern Province to connect to Tazara. We did feasibility study, and the government had a bankable document which is still there. Apparently, just due to fiscal space, the project hasn't taken place. But I'm sure we should be able to do the project soon. I'm married, and my children, I've got 2 children. They are in China. Kaumbwe constituency, has a population of 60,000 people. Kaumbwe constituency is bordering Mozambique, and in terms of other constituencies, it is bordering Kapoche constituency and the Etapia Central. Kaumbwe constituency is the least developed constituency in Zambia. Zambia has 156 constituencies. Now we are the least developed constituency in the country. This is on record. It is written in the what they call economic outlook index, for using the multidimensional index, meaning to check the poverty levels. They look at how many people are employed in the Kaumbwe constituency, and their industries, and so on. So we fall at imagine we're falling at 94% poverty levels. Well, but the people are happy. We are happy people. It is a place. It is a sweet place. We like to enjoy our traditional ceremonies and so on and so forth. So you find that Kaumbwe is a place also that is very hospitable. There is hospitality. Kaumbwe constituency has no industry. There is no source of any job. The only source of income is farming. Our land has become infertile. We have to depend on agricultural subsidies like FISI programs. And these FISI programs, they are not even enough. Also, the distribution is very erratic. Right now, I'm so much worried about the hunger. The situation has become like this simply because the last season, the farming production was very low due to, of course, due to climatic factors, as well as the late delivery of inputs. Now, it seems that problem is going to repeat itself this season. because up to now, not even a single bag of fertilizer has been delivered to the constituency. Well, these are just some of the current issues. But to describe better about the constituency, the challenges as they are outlined in the in the national survey that was conducted, you find that education, we have no government boarding secondary school, the whole constituency, not even one. We do not have a referral hospital. A referral hospital is only in Petauke, which the furthest part from Chizanda is about 60 kilometers. Now imagine you are sick in Chizanda. The referral hospital is so many kilometers away. The few clinics that are in the constituency that do not provide the desirable health care that we want. Look at the roads. The roads, thank God that the previous government embarked on the OPRC project. Right now we cannot complain on the roads part. But the major issues that we are looking at is water supply also. We need to improve the water supply by sinking the boreholes across the constituency. The development agenda, first of all, I'm looking at improving the livelihood of the people by, first of all, providing education, which is education is an equalizer. We need to provide education, and so we don't provide education by upgrading at least 4 day secondary schools to full-time government boarding secondary schools, namely Manjawan Primary School, Manjawan Day Secondary School, Lusine Day Secondary School, Lusine Day Secondary School, Ngombeni Matwa Secondary School, and Zumaire. These they are in plan that we upgrade them to full-time, fully fledged government boarding secondary school. Why this step? It's because they will realize the benefits from government in terms of government bursaries. Right now, government has given us 40% of the CBF to be used on government bursaries to support students, and yet in my constituency I can only afford 70 students. So from that money, from more than 1.2 million kwacha, only 200,000 kwacha is going to be used for bursaries. That is education. That is the first division. Then the second one, we are going to, of course, these things will be happening simultaneously. I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to a Kaumbe constituency that should have an industry, some small industries such that the people can find jobs there. Look now, we are going to be giving loans through the CDF. These loans, people are supposed to open businesses. Now, to open businesses, there is need to have a very good environment, such as electricity, to provide power, electricity and water. So people can open welding shops, and they are able to rear some chickens, and there should be electricity, even to keep pigs and so on. And we form a small national meeting, like national meeting in Lusaka here. It should have everything there. You take your maize, so there'll be some silos where, so there'll be all the functions of a small FRA and also national meeting. So these 5 plants, put them together to increase the production capacity, and then you have storage sheds for raw maize, also storage sheds to dispatch the maize, to distribute to production consumption centers like secondary schools, police, so on and so forth, also to choppies and the rest. So in that way, there'll be a lot of people that can get jobs in those areas. And also, I'm looking at least have one skills training college, because send somebody from Kaumbe to come and study at Lusaka Trades in these days of hardships due to the hardships of the economy. So we are trying to look at upgrading one of the secondary schools, which is we are making Zuma area, which is at the center. We try to now we will, through the CDF we will make it to be a fully fledged government secondary school. Then later we will now put a skills training college. This skills training college is going to be unique in the sense that the people that are supposed to be to receive training in that place are not supposed to have the criteria is not supposed to be like to look at somebody who got 6 points or 17 points or whatever. As long as you can speak Chinsenga or you can write a little bit, we have skills like catering. I don't need somebody who has a certificate in grade 9, so we'll be offering courses that are practical department and also academic. Practical, for those to be enrolled in the practical section, they just need we just need to tap their talent. They will not have written exams. All they will be doing is just to go for practicals. Like some people learn mechanics, there's no need to teach them about the combustion system of the car, but there will be a model of the vehicle, model of an engine, and the teacher would dismantle that engine and teach them assemble. After assembling, then they'll so this is the vision. I want to appeal to the people of Kaumbe constituency to be a little bit patient, because government is still finding modalities on how best to utilize these monies. The good news is that the money is not going to be recorded at the end of a fiscal year. So it means that we are able to plan and construct and implement all the projects at our own time. Now I'm just urging for a little bit of patience. The good news is that the projects for last year, the projects that in the previous government, the 1.6 million kwacha projects, they will start implementing them next week. All the contractors, they have been given award letters, and next week the school at Kalasau, the contractor will move there. The school at Lusinde, the contractor will move there at Nyawalira, and so on and so forth. What I urge also the people of Kaumbe constituency, let us be vigilant. All these contractors, please, they need to employ people that are within the locality where the project is taking place.
Honorable Cliff Mpundu was born in 1974. I did my primary education at Lukola Primary School. Of course, my parents used to be civil servants, so we moved from place to place. So I did my primary school at Matanda Primary, Yongo Primary, and Lukola Primary. After which I did my secondary school at Mansa Secondary School. From there, I also went ahead in my further studies, went to the university and did my first degree in development studies, my master's at UNZA, and I also did other qualification at Zambia Air Service Training Institute, where I obtained my advanced certificate in occupational health and safety. I also did the former so-called Lusaka Trade Institute, where I did my engineering qualification. I got a craft certificate there. In terms of my marital status, I'm married and I've got 2 kids, a boy and a girl. The first born being is a 5th year medical student, and the other last born is doing his grade 11 at Our Lady's School for the Catholics. My constituency is a constituency whose economic activity is mainly agriculture, and it's a constituency which it's a rural constituency, and being a rural constituency, there are a lot of challenges that it comes with, especially that it's just at its infancy stage as a district. To start with, we have issues to do with health, we have got issues to do with education, we have got issues to do with the infrastructure, and of course water and sanitation challenges. And it is a constituency which has got currently a youth population who are very eager to this in and it is a constituency that has got a lot of water bodies. In terms of tourism, investors are welcome to Chembe district. When it comes to diversification in other areas, just like we are hosting the so-called, though it is called Mansa Sugar, that company is in Chembe constituency, at the heart of Chembe constituency, though they have given it a name as Mansa Sugar. Yeah, so we have a vast area which can be utilized by many investors. We also have got the mine, though it is not in operation, in Mwombe. We also have got other areas which can be explored by the investors. What we need is genuine investors who are able to propel our economic activity in our constituency, Chembe. So we invite all those who are willing to come and invest in Chembe, so that we develop Chembe together. It is a holistic approach that we are following in Chembe in order to improve our living standards there in Chembe as a whole. The developmental agenda for Chembe district, in the first lot, as I've already alluded to, the literacy levels are high. It is for the reason why in the first lot, like the CDF that we had, we had focused on education, which most of the projects that are being propelled is to do with education, so that we uplift that literacy levels in Chembe district. From there, we are looking at the health sector. The health sector is key, especially in the next lot. Even in the first lot of the CDF, we have touched part of the health issues. But in the second lot, that will be our focus. It's the health sector, and at the same time, the water sector. Despite our water bodies just passes through the corridors of our people in Chembe district, still people doesn't have clean drinking water. So in the next lot of the CDF, we want to focus more improving the water systems in our district. As much as we cannot go immediately for a reticulation plant, but we feel it is just prudent that we look at other avenues that will make our people graduating from drawing water from the rivers and into semi-piped water, I may say so. So these are the key things that, and thirdly, we have got a problem with the two major roads, the Chipete Road and the Kasoma Luela Road. Of course, through the central government, there is something that we are starting doing on those two major roads, Kasoma Luela and the Chipete Road. When you go there, you find that the culverts, we are starting with doing the bridges. After we do the bridges, then we will start now with the main road. As I'm speaking, culverts have already been dispatched to all those points. What we are just waiting is on the administrative aspect. You know, you don't just get into a project without following the legal procedures. Those are the ones that are making the men not to be on the ground, so that we have those bridges worked on. And this, we won't just end on the Chipete and Kasomaruela Road. We need also to look prudent on certain roads, like feeder roads, which are going into our farm areas. I may call them farm blocks, like the Lusufu Road that goes to Mupemba, and other roads where our people do their agricultural activities. So this is the general development agenda. Now, these cannot be propelled without the youth. Henceforth, we are trying to make sure that the youth, as much as we have invested in the education up to secondary level in this first lot of our CDF, we are also looking at now fully having our own trade school, because currently CDF that we are receiving, we are sending our youth to other constituencies. So you can imagine there is that capital flight. As much as the architect of this CDF are saying this money should be in the constituency, but to us who don't have skills training centers, there is that capital flight, because we are taking those children to other schools in other constituencies. So money is removed from our constituencies. Henceforth, it's just prudent that we expedite the issue of having our own skills training center there, so that the youth
on page 35, failure to charge and claim liquidated damages. The Treasury notes the auditor's observations. However, the committee may wish to note that Mkalile Trading Company Limited is among the private creditors to be engaged for the debt restructuring process. As such, the Ministry of Education will engage Ministry of Finance, National Planning to commence a process of claiming liquidated damages with regard to the undelivered items. Next item, failure to deliver contracted items to schools. The Treasury notes the auditor's observations. The committee may wish to note that the supplier was contractually obliged to deliver the goods to their respective schools, and some schools did not receive all the allocated consignments. It is, however, worth noting that in some cases deliveries were not made to the schools due to lack of storage facilities, and hence the deliveries in such cases were made to district zonal centers for later distribution, subject to availability of secure space at the schools. Partial delivery of assets assembly component. Partial delivery of assets assembly components. The Treasury notes auditor's observations. During the inspections carried out at the supplier's warehouse where the goods were stored when they arrived in the country, selected officials from the Ministry of Education present at the supplier's warehouse verified the laptops and desktop computers but did not test them. Further, the team attested that accessories such as external speakers for computers were not available during the verification. Delivery of defective laboratory equipment Southern Province. The Treasury notes the auditor's observation and wish to indicate that some equipment was delivered in boxes, among which were beakers, burettes, pipettes, and other breakable jars, which are fragile in nature. Therefore, it is possible that at delivery to the final schools, some boxes could have contained defective or broken laboratory equipment. Defective equipment in school, Jasmine Secondary School, Central Province. The Treasury notes the auditor's observations. Some equipment such as ratchet, braces, G-clamps and measuring tapes came with defects which broke on first use. The committee wished to note that some equipment came with defects such as ratchets, braces, G-clamps and measuring tapes which broke on first use. The defects were brought to the attention of the supplier and were not replaced. Items delivered with defects in Northern Province. The Treasury notes the auditor's observations regarding items delivered with defects. It may, however, be noted that the conference table in question has now been assembled as the school has managed to source the screws. Further, at Chingoyo Primary School in Kaputa District, the solar power that malfunctioned after installation was worked on by the school and is currently in operation. Failure to install solar Chonga Secondary School, Kalomo District. The Treasury notes the auditor's observation. However, the status is that at the time of delivery, the solar kits meant for Chonga Primary and Secondary School were diverted to Nachifusa Primary School. This is because Chonga Primary and Secondary School is connected to the national power grid. Poor workmanship in lab installations. The Treasury notes the auditor's observation regarding poor lab installations at Simba and Siachitema Secondary School, which is factual. Failure to deliver and install laboratory equipment. The Treasury notes the auditor's observations. In view of the foregoing, Mikalide Trading Company Limited is among the private creditors to be engaged for the debt restructuring process. As such, the Ministry of Education will engage Ministry of Finance to commence the process, which is expected to take into account Lot 9 with regard to non-installation. Delivery of poor quality assets. The Treasury has noted the auditor's observations. In view of the foregoing, Mikalide Trading Company Limited is among the private creditors to be engaged for debt restructuring, and as such, it's expected that this process will take into account poor quality items procured, such as lashes, coping, saws, rakes, and wooden planes. Supply of laptops with fast-draining batteries. The Treasury notes the auditor's observation, and in view of the foregoing, the Mikalide Trading Company Limited is among the private creditors to be engaged in debt restructuring, which it is expected will take into account supply of laptops with fast-draining batteries. Missing computers. The Treasury has noted the auditor's observation regarding missing computers. However, the Ministry is currently in the process of making follow-ups to the provincial education officers on the missing computers and laptops. Unaccounted for stores items. The Treasury has noted the auditor's observations. However, the committee may wish to note that stores officers are stationed at the provincial education offices and not at the schools, which were the final recipient of goods. Further, the Ministry of Education was not involved in the distribution of goods, as distribution was done by the supplier to zonal centers, and thereafter schools were requested to collect from the zonal centers on their own. Retrieval of delivered laptops in the Lunga District Education Office. The Treasury notes the auditor's observations regarding retrieval of 4 delivered laptops at Lunga Day Secondary School. In view of the foregoing, Mikalide Trading is among the private creditors to be engaged in the debt restructuring process, which is expected will take into account supply of the laptops that were retrieved and not refunded. Failure to inscribe assets. The Treasury notes the auditor's observations, and which to indicate that the Ministry of Education is yet to engage the Department of Land for this equipment to inscribe assets at the cited provinces. Failure to maintain and record assets in the asset register. The Treasurer has noted the auditor's observations and wish to indicate that in some cases, school head teachers recorded assets received in hard-covered books. However, the miscellaneous form 59, as noted, was not maintained. Going forward, the Ministry of Education will engage the Treasury to support asset management in all the schools. Non-functional computers. The Treasury has noted the auditor's observations and wish to indicate that Mikalile Trading Company Limited, who is among the private creditors to be engaged for debt restructuring, which is expected to take into account supply of non-functional computers. Unusable delivered items. The Treasury notes the auditor's observations regarding unusable delivered items and wishes to indicate that Mikalile Trading Company Limited, the supplier, is among the private creditors to be engaged in debt restructuring, which is expected to take into account the supply of unusable items due to incomplete assembly accessories. Supply of items without accessories. The Treasury notes the auditor's observations and wishes to indicate that the Mikalile Trading Company is among the private creditors to be engaged in the debt restructuring process, which is expected to take into account supply of items without accessories. Unusable items, Copperbelt Province. The Treasury notes the auditor's observations and wishes to indicate that Mikalile Trading Company Limited will be among the private creditors to be engaged for debt restructuring, and as such, it's expected that the supply of items which were wrong size or had missing components would be taken into account during the process. Unaccounted for school items, Southern and Copperbelt provinces. The Treasury notes the auditor's observations and wishes to indicate that the stores offices are stationed at provincial education offices and not at the schools, which were the final destinations for the goods delivered. Further, the Ministry of Education was not involved in the distribution of goods, as distribution was done by the supplier to zonal centers, and thereafter schools were requested to collect from the zonal centers on their own. Failure to avail items, audit, Muchinga Province. The Treasury notes the auditor's observations and wishes to indicate that the Ministry of Finance and National Planning will establish the failure by the Ministry of Education to avail information by the auditors and take appropriate actions in accordance with the Public Finance Management Act No. 1 of 2018, Section 82. Missing carpentry tools and design and technology equipment, Southern and Copperbelt Province. The Treasury has noted the auditor's observations regarding missing carpentry tools and design and technology equipment in Southern and Copperbelt provinces. The committee may wish to note that the Ministry of Finance and National Planning will establish the failure by the Ministry of Education to avail information to the auditors and take appropriate action in accordance with the Public Finance Management Act No. 1 of 2018, Section 82. Unverified items, Copperbelt and Northern provinces. The Treasury has noted the auditor's observations regarding unverified items, Copperbelt and Northern provinces. The committee may wish to note that Ministry of Finance will establish the failure to avail information to the auditors and take appropriate action in accordance with the Public Finance Management Act No. 1 of 2018, Section 82. Undelivered items. The Treasury notes the auditor's observations regarding undelivered items. In view of the foregoing, Mikalile Trading Company is among the private creditors to be engaged for debt restructuring and is expected through the Ministry of Education that this process will take into account the undelivered items. Failure to deliver contracted items to schools, Southern Province. The Treasury notes auditor's observations and wish to indicate that Mr. Trading Company is among the private creditors to be engaged in the debt restructuring process, which is expected to take into account the failure to deliver contracted items. Questionable delivery of items in schools not on the distribution schedule, Western Province. The Treasury notes the auditor's observations and wishes to indicate that the beneficiary schools are 18 and not 12. However, the supplier erred in delivering to schools that were not on the approved distribution list. In view of the foregoing, we wish to submit that Trading Company Limited will be engaged in the debt restructuring process, and it's expected that this process will take into account the items delivered to schools not on the distribution schedules. The next item is ineffective solar power computers, Kabanga Christian School, Zambia District, Southern Province. The Treasury notes the auditor's observations and wishes to indicate that Mikalile Trading Company is among the private creditors to be engaged in the debt restructuring process, and it's expected that this issue will be addressed with regard to ineffective solar equipment at Kabanga Christian School in the process. Non-functional computers, Copperbelt Province. The Treasury notes that the auditor's observations in view of the foregoing, the Mikalile Trading Company is expected to be among the private creditors who will be engaged in the debt restructuring process, which is expected to take into account the non-functional computers on the Copperbelt Province. Retention of items by debts officers, Copperbelt Province. The Treasury has noted the auditor's observations regarding retention of items by debts officers, Copperbelt Province. The committee may wish to note that debts officers retained the stated equipment as the intended recipient schools had no secure infrastructure to safeguard the items. Undistributed items, Chipangali, Usangazi, and Vuvi districts, Eastern Province. The Treasury has noted the auditor's observations and wishes to indicate that the committee has remained at the debts offices and donor centers in the 3 districts that the intended recipient schools have no secure infrastructure to safeguard the items. Failure to conform to specifications and irregularity identified under technical assessment, laptops and desktops. The Treasury has noted the auditor's observations regarding failure to conform to specifications. However, at pre-inspection stage on 8 September 2020, the desktops and laptops inspected were in conformity to the specifications as the contract. However, it was noted that verifications done on 11 September 2022 revealed that the desktop and laptop computers delivered to the schools did not conform to the specifications of the contract. In view of the foregoing, Mikalile Trading Company will be engaged in the debt restructuring process, which is expected to take into account non-conformity to specifications as per contract for the desktops and laptops. Lack of authenticity and executable warranties. The Treasury notes the observations made by the auditors. The committee may wish to note that the supplier did not provide the manufacturer's authorization for Lenovo and HAS computers at the time of bidding, hence the non-availability of warranties. It was expected that the supplier would supply the goods in line with the manufacturer authorization. Review of internal audit reporting findings. Failure to distribute solar panels to earmarked schools. The Treasury notes the observations made by the auditors on the failure to distribute solar panels to earmarked schools. In view of the foregoing, Mikalile Trading Company Limited will be engaged in the debt restructuring process, and it's expected that the process of rescoping will take into account the solar panels not distributed to the earmarked schools. Failure to deliver school requisites to 5 community schools in Sinda, Eastern Province. The Treasury notes observations by the auditors and wishes to submit that Mikalele Trading Company Limited will be engaged in a debt restructuring process which is expected to take into account the 5 community schools under Sinda district that did not receive any learning materials. Questionable transportation arrangements for distribution of school requisites. The Treasury notes the observations made by the auditors and in this regard would like to indicate that Mikalele Trading Company Limited is among the private creditors to be engaged for debt restructuring, which is expected to take into account the transportation arrangements. Questionable distribution of furniture and learning materials to private schools. The Treasury has noted the auditor's observations and submits that Mikalele Trading Company Limited is among the private creditors to be engaged for debt restructuring. As such, Ministry of Education will engage Ministry of Finance to commence the process of rescoping on the items delivered to private schools. Questionable distribution of learning materials to unknown or non-existent schools. The Treasury takes note of the auditor's observations and submits that Mikalele Trading Company Limited will be engaged for debt restructuring. As such, Ministry of Education will engage Ministry of Finance to commence the process of rescoping, which is expected to take into account the items delivered to unknown and non-existent schools. Failure to conduct monitoring and evaluation of projects financed through government borrowing. The Treasury notes the auditor's observations. However, the committee may wish to note that despite the absence of a formal supervisory monitoring and evaluation framework, the Ministry does undertake monitoring of loan finance projects on an annual basis as per ministerial work plan for projects in the areas such as water sanitation, digital migration, power transmission, and increased access to electricity. However, due to funding constraints, these exercises cannot be done for all the projects of the portfolio and they may not be as consistent as required. Going forward, the Ministry will endeavour to put in place a supervisory monitoring and evaluation framework as recommended by the auditors. The committee may also wish to note that the government had issued a cabinet circular which assigns out-of-station inspection to officers within the provinces and the districts of concern where these projects are taking place, and as such the Treasury will coordinate with these officers to ensure that monitoring of projects is done more consistently. Questionable advance payment, construction of FTJ Chilova University. The Treasury has noted the auditor's observation and wish to indicate that the committee may note that the advance payment was made in accordance with provisions of the commercial contract Clause 14.2. Similarly, the project was financed through an export credit arrangement which requires the borrower to make an advance payment to the contractor before the main lender can commence disbursements to the project. Clause 3.1 of the financing agreement between government and the main lender, Industry and Commercial Bank of China, states that the lender will finance up to 85% of the contract cost, thereby assigning payment of the remaining 15% to the borrower. Further, Schedule 2 of the financing agreement lists payment of the advance payment as a precondition to accessing the 85% loan. Therefore, the advance payment had to be made to the contractor in line with both the commercial and financing contracts. The committee may wish to note that the implementing ministry is in the process of terminating the contract since the 85% facility was cancelled as part of the measures to contain unsustainable debt accumulation. This will be followed by preparation of final accounts which will ascertain amounts due to the contractor. In response to the request for guidance on the recommendation of termination of the commercial contract dated 8th August 2022 and subsequent follow-up with the Ministry of Justice dated 17th November 2023, the Ministry of Justice responded on 6 March 2024 providing guidance on the termination of the FTJ Chilova University contract and legal implications on the implementing ministry. Following the guidance given by the Attorney General dated 6 March 2024, the Ministry of Education is currently in the process of terminating the commercial contract. Therefore, the $33,750,000 US paid as advance payment is expected to be recovered once the final account is prepared. Question about procurement of fertilizer. The Treasury notes the auditor's observations. However, the committee may wish to note that some capital were the contract managers for the contract. Questionable use of fertilizer for debt swap. It's on the page 65, when the response is not on 64, on page 65. The auditor's observations have been noted. Documentation relating to delivery of fertilizers and delivery notes is available and at Appendix 3 in the attachment. Failure to deliver the project within contracted period. On this item, the Treasury notes auditor's observations and wish to indicate that delays in raising the $30 million, to note that the delay in commencement of the project was due to delays in raising the $30 million US advance payment, delay by Zambia ZTF to obtain an objection from Zambia Public Procurement Agency and Zambia Environmental Management Agency, as some procurement requirements relating to government projects had not been done. Further, delays by subcontractors to complete the construction of slabs on which the contractor was expected to erect mill houses and mill equipment installations due to difficulties in mobilizing resources to commence the works. Restrictions of local and international movements due to the COVID-19 outbreak in 2020 to 2021, which affected movements of both persons and goods due to logistics. Blasting cases in 2019 media, the country experienced everywhere. As a result, there was some insecurity and the contractors had to suspend works for fear of being attacked. As a result of the above, the project lost 3 years of construction period. The committee may wish to note that there is a memorandum of understanding that appointed Zambia ZTF as project implementers, as alluded to by the auditors. However, what exists is a construction agreement. The status, therefore, is that a total of 1,571 milling plants have been completed so far, comprising 1,553 maize mills and 18 rice mills, with a balance of 12 rice mills yet to be done. The contractor is still expected to give a status on the expected completion date for the 12 remaining rice mills. Irregular collection of revenue. The Treasury notes the auditor's observations and wish to submit that when the project commenced, there were operationalization of the milling plants. An initiative was taken to manage the and an amount monthly charge by each beneficiary cooperative was arrived at, considering the expected income per month less related costs. ZTF has not been depositing the lease fees, as they have been using these funds for operations, monitoring and supervision. A detailed collections and expenditure report is available at Appendix 4. To address these challenges, the Treasury is currently formalizing the reporting structure between the relevant stakeholders, that is the financier, which is the Ministry of Finance and National Planning, the Supervisory Ministry, Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprise Development, and ZTF in the running of the milling plants and management of the project. Under design, construction, and airport infrastructure, Greenfield in Dollar. A. Failure to provide financing agreement and amortization schedules. The Treasury notes the auditor's observation and wishes to indicate that the committee may note that the financing agreement and amortization schedule for the 85% facility under Exim Bank of China is available for audit verification. Appendix 5. Increased debt obligation as a result of delayed payments to contractor. The Treasurer notes the auditor's observations. The committee may wish to note that the Exim Bank of China halted disbursements in 2020 due to the accumulation of debt service arrears by government as a result of liquidity challenges. Due to the failure by government to meet debt service payments, the debt restructuring process was initiated, and as part of the debt restructuring process, a debt service standstill was implemented in 2020 to ensure fair treatment of all creditors, and this is what led to accrual of arrears as the contractor continued with the implementation of the project. In 2022, Ministry of Finance and National Planning took over the financing of the project after rescoping the project to prioritize major aspects that ensure full operation of the airport. The committee may further wish to note that all 22 verified IPCs have been approved by the Department of Public Infrastructure. The Treasury has formulated a strategy for payment of the arrears, including any accrued interest arrear costs. The accrued interest claim is $28,004,698 It may be noted that the stated accrued interest amount is still a claim, meaning it has not yet been evaluated and certified for payment by the project manager and is subject to negotiation. The committee may wish to note that contrary to the indication by the auditors that the contractor would be entitled to receive financing charges compounded monthly on the amount unpaid during the period of delay, the contractor will be paid interest on the late payment. In the next payment, the interest shall be calculated from the debt when the payment should have been made up to the date when the late payment is made at the prevailing rate of interest for commercial borrowing for each of the currencies in which the payments are made. This is in line with clause 43.1 of under the contract. Failure to provide information on the contraction and utilization of loan facility. The auditor's observations have been noted and wish to indicate that the financing agreement for the loan is hereby attached at Appendix 6. Delayed implementation of the projects. Delayed implementation of the projects. Our response is on page 72. We wish to submit that as at 31st December 2022, the African Development Bank and World Bank components were at 85% and 93% progress.
Honorable colleague, page 71. Yes, 21. Yes. Proceed.
The major delay has been on the EIB component due to the procurement and approval processes which are required by the bank. The COVID-19 also contributed to the delay, as most key staff of the consultants who are foreign nationals were not able to travel due to travel restrictions. All activities on the project were either put on hold or slowed down between 2019 and 2021 in adherence to Ministry of Health COVID-19 restrictions and globally as well. Other factors that contributed to delays also included delays in government counterpart funding, resolving ZEMA issues, as well as issues relating to compensation of potentially affected persons, unforeseen ground conditions such as underlying rocks and floods, late power supply connections. It is worth noting that the delayed projects under the EIB components are currently at the procurement of works contract stage. Normal project activities have resumed, and $3,522,540.65 was disbursed in 2023, and the project completion date has been extended to June 30th, 2025. It's also worth noting that the EIB does not charge any commitment fees. Going forward, management will ensure to put up strategies that will help the project complete within the timeline set and so as to achieve the intended objectives. Slow absorption rate of the loan facility. The Treasury has noted the auditor's observations. The committee may wish to note that the project completion date has been extended to 30th June 2025 and the implementation is expected to ramp up in 2024. Questionable acquisition of counterpart funding. The Treasury notes the auditor's observations. The committee may, however, wish to note that government did not contract a loan from Abu Dhabi Fund for Development in the sum of $36,730,000 US, but in Arab Emirates dirham of $36,730,000 dirham, which is equivalent to about $10,001,395.19. The committee may further wish to note that the loan was acquired to finance 20% of the total cost of construction of 3 teachers' university colleges. Particularly, the Abu Dhabi Fund component was supposed to finance civil works. However, due to coordination challenges among Chair, that's supposed to be 4 instead of 3 creditors, the project implementation did not take off. Further, no disbursements were made on this loan, hence no interest was ever charged or paid. Government sent a cancellation letter to the creditor in 2020, but the creditor is yet to respond. The following were noted as the major challenges of the project during the documented in the aid memoir of 3rd May 2019, which is attached in the appendix. Apologies, Chair, will number the appendix here also. A lack of properly defined communication channels leading to the assumption that Badea was responsible for administration of all 4 loan agreements. Further, taking into consideration that the financing structure adopted was both co-financing and parallel financing, it was not immediately clear which financier was responsible for respective stages in the construction process. 2, Ministry of Higher Education made the decision to relocate the project sites of 2 of the colleges and applied for a relocation of 2 of the college sites from Sesheke to Nalolo districts and from Petauke to Katete district directly to Badea without requesting facilitation of the Ministry of Finance. In addition, the co-financers on the 2 colleges, Abu Dhabi and Ofid, were not aware of the request, but they advised the entire project required to be re-evaluated and reappraised in order for the reallocation to take place and to have consent of the other financiers. Kuwait Fund for Arab Economic Development agreement related to the financing of only 1 college, that is the College of Mathematics and Science in Sesheke, whereas the other 3 financiers were contributing to all 3 colleges. The Kuwait Fund also noted that they did not receive an official request for the change in project being made on the project from the time the loans were declared effective in 2015. The financiers advised that the economic viability and the decision to proceed with project implementation will be subject to board approval. In view of the foregoing, a decision was made to cancel the project, and the primary criteria for cancellation was the findings of the joint mission. In addition, the 3 teachers training colleges project was highlighted during the 2019-2020 debt tree, providing exercise under the loans which were contracted and yet to be dispersed. Failure to pay contractor, implementation of Kalabo Sikongo Road project. The Treasury notes the auditor's observations and wish to indicate that the project had 2 components as follows. A component for preparation of the detailed design and finalization of tender documents, assistance in evaluation of proposals and awards of contracts, supervision of the execution of the civil works, and a component for civil works for the construction of an 85-kilometer road from Kalabo to Sekongo. The committee may further note that physical works could not commence in the third quarter of 2011 because the contract for the preparation of the detailed design and finalization of tender documents, assistance in evaluation of proposals and award of contracts, and supervision of execution of civil works was only signed on 11 August 2011, with services commencing thereafter. The committee may also wish to know that the procurement processes for the works commence after the completion of the detailed design and preparation of tender documents. Invitation for the bids for the works was issued on 14th October 2015 with a bid closing date of 4th December 2015. The pre-contract negotiation meeting was held on 7th September 2016. However, during the pre-contract negotiation meeting, it was noted that a delay of 1 year between the closing of the bids and issuance of acceptance of the tender had pushed the commencement of works as provided in the contract to the onset of the rainy season being November to March. The letter of acceptance for works contract was issued on 2nd December 2016. The parties signed the agreement to works contract on 13th December 2016. Thereafter, the parties agreed to fix the date of commencement to 31st March 2017 when the rains would have subsided. This was later revised to 3rd April 2017 when the possession of site was issued, and this was after the works. Wasteful expenditure on Kalabo-Sekongo Road project. The Treasury notes the auditor's observation and wished to indicate that the expenditure went towards the supply of materials on sites such as culverts, as well as the executed clearing and grubbing works, installation of culverts and earthworks. At the time of implementation of the projects, works were executed and certified in line with the contract documents, and payments were effected as per contract. These works were predominantly still in place, and minimal interventions will be required on the sections already worked on. However, due to the passage of time, works which were executed, such as earthworks, have been affected by rainfall. As a consequence, some works may have to be done once works are recommenced. Failure to release advance payment and pay certified IPCs. The Treasury notes the auditor's observations. Payment of advance and interim payment certificates was delayed due to challenges in the finalization of the financing arrangements with the financiers that included the Government of the Republic of Zambia, the Kuwait Fund for Arab Economic Development, the OPEC Fund for International Development, the Saudi Fund for Development, and the Arab Bank for Development in Africa. Varying requirements in the loan agreements also contributed to delays in disbursements by financiers. Further, the committee may wish to note that the Road Development Agency obtained government commitment to finance $16 million via immediate reference MF IDN 101/2484 dated 29 August 2016 through inclusion in the annual budget for the implementation of the project for the duration of the construction period. However, due to constrained fiscal challenges during the period of implementation, certified works were not paid by the Government of the Republic of Zambia due to high percentage contribution and disbursement of funds, which was not envisaged, leading to delayed payments. Furthermore, there was poor communication of disbursement information among the financiers to Ministry of Finance and National Planning with regard to non-honoring of already submitted withdrawal challenges in honoring payments of certified IPCs and subsequent suspension of works by the contractor. Going forward, for projects with multiple financiers, there will be need to harmonize the conditions precedents of releasing funds, which was not the case in this project. Unaccounted for funds, construction of 321 km Lusaka-Ndola dual carriageway. Questionable construction of works contract before commitment of funds. The Treasury notes the auditor's observations. However, the committee may wish to note that the commercial contract it was a requirement that the commercial contract must be in place for export credit arrangements, as the contract forms the basis for loan discussions. In this regard, execution of the contract was required before discussions with potential creditors would commence. The committee wished to note that according to clause 5 of the form of agreement of the contract signed between Road Development Agency and Messiers China Jiangxi Corporation for International Economic and Technical Cooperation, the contract was to become effective within 14 days after attainment of the following conditions precedent. The contract has been fully signed between the employer and the contractor. The contract has Zambia and the People's Republic of China. Side hand employer bank guarantee or issuance bond. I wish to note that the funds were to be secured through two separate financing agreements and the financing institution, and there was indication of availability of financing from Export-Import Bank of China for 85% component of the project, and the other between the Ministry of Finance and another financing institution referred to as a lender, who would provide funds for the advance payment, which was 15% of the contract sum. However, financial closure on the 85% financing was not achieved due to agreement between the Ministry of Finance and the lender, who would provide funds for the advance US dollars being paid to the contractor. To note that the government did not draw down the balance of 157 million as indicated in the auditor's report. The committee may note that prior to commencement of works, the contract was amended to facilitate the use of 30 million advance payment. And accounted for advance payment. The Treasury notes the auditor's observations. The committee may wish to note that RDA had requested the contractor to provide details of how the funds advance had been utilized. However, following the cancellation of the contract, details were provided by the contractor in which they claimed to be entitled to payment of $250,718,857.22, and their submission has been under review by the engineer who was appointed as the design review and supervision consultant. The engineer has completed the review and validation of the utilization of the 30 million US dollars advance payment on the project based on the evidence that was provided by the contractor. The engineer determined that an amount of $18,856,839.24 was utilized from the advance payment, that has subsequently recommended the refund of an amount of $11,153,160.76 by the contractor in the final account validation report. This position was communicated to the contractor in a letter dated May 7, 2024. However, in a letter dated May 21, 2024, the contractor has disputed the engineer's determination and has since requested for 10 days in which to review the report and another 2 months in which to submit the revised final account. In a meeting held on 24th May 2024, the consultant and the RDA agreed to proceed to prepare and finalize the final accounts as the contractor evidence. The table 1 indicated on this page gives a breakdown of the adjudication of the final accounts, which will lead to the recovery of $160.76 balance of unutilized advance from the contractor in the final accounts. Chair and honorable members will submit.
Thank you, PS, for submission. Indeed, it was a long submission, and I hope the appendices have been provided. I just don't know how you are going to label them, because they should be cross-referenced as we come back to further interrogate and just have some follow-up questions or clarification to UPS. But my question is, PS, this submission you are making before this honorable committee, I hope it's the same submission you made to the Office of the Auditor General prior to their management letter. Is that the position?
Chair, for some areas, I think initially, for example, we have in our submission, we have areas where the Auditor General had indicated that certain documentation was not available. So in this submission, we are indicating that we have some documents which are available, and we also had to undertake further consultations with various client ministries who provided updated submissions.
So, PS, apart from those where you are saying you are ready for verification, because that entails that Auditor General has to come back and look at those documents and do verification. I think excluding those, the rest of your submission is what you submitted also during their when they issued their management letter, apart from what you've gathered as evidence, which they need to come and see to, I think, authenticate some of the issues which are emanating from the report.
Yes, generally they are in line, because the only issues that we are indicating, we have additional documentation, and we had some updates from the client ministries in terms of their responses to the issues we raised. Of course, in some areas they also had challenges in terms of earlier responses, so we might have certain situations where they give us an updated status. So in such circumstances, perhaps the response would have been updated.
Thank you. So I take it that's the same submission, apart from the additional information that you have. Thank you so much, honorable colleagues. I think we're done here. PS is joining us in the afternoon as we meet the witness at 15 hours. Then I think further clarification to some of the submissions through the ministry can be done as well. So PS and your team, let me take this opportunity, and let's say do you have any submission, take this opportunity to, you have a submission before I lift your immunity. You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to request the indulgence of the Chair and the committee. I am very well aware that I'm supposed to be in attendance on all the meetings as the rest of the witnesses are being met. However, I would like to request your indulgence if I could have a permanent witness and be available in instances when you feel it is very necessary, so that we could I could attend to two particular items which are quite urgent. We had agreed to a scheduled meeting with the International Monetary Fund, who are in the country, to meet with my office and my division. And also we have an issue relating to finalization of the green paper, which forms the basis for the 2025 budget. We have a deadline to have it submitted to cabinet by Friday next week. So I thought that perhaps with your consideration, should you deem it allowable, you could indulge.
I don't know, PS, when are those meetings? Is it today, tomorrow?
The meeting started yesterday, so like this afternoon we have a follow-up meeting. The mission is 1 week. It goes into, I think it should be Wednesday.
because the challenge you'll have, you are the authors and you are the owners of this document. So it becomes very difficult to deal with your subordinates, because if it's not you, it's I don't know where else, because I think that's where we have it difficult. Maybe this inception of this afternoon, it was going to be very important. Then we can pick how this thing will go. Then we're able to say, because AG also won't be there every day, but I had to tell him to come today so that we can form the basis. Then from there now it will be easy to say, oh, PS, don't come tomorrow. I think now form the basis. But from inception, if we start like that, then it's difficult, because who do we ask? So maybe this afternoon you can attend, we form the basis, and we're meeting one of your suppliers agreement and key appearing in this report, so that we see how we form basis. Then from there we'll be saying, okay, we form the basis. Yes, even if we don't come, then we can proceed as it were with maybe your officers as it were. So that's I think that's what we need to agree on. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. I believe we can work around your guidance. Thank you.
Thank you so much. PS and your team, immunity has been lifted. You can proceed for your lunch. We'll see you at 15 sharp. Thank you so much.
You can now advertise on Parliament Television and Parliament Radio. For more information, call 0977 854102 or 0977 536487. Parliament Television, bringing Parliament closer to you.
This month on DSTV Premium, UEFA Euro 2024 kicks off in Germany as footballing legends fight for continental supremacy. The madcap panel of comics are back to retell hilarious stories from their formative years.
Blowing the whistle on their adolescent chisel.
And the epic prequel to Game of Thrones returns as civil war threatens to tear House Targaryen apart.
I mean to fight this war.
There's so much to enjoy on your home of entertainment, so upgrade to DSTV Premium.
In a world where judgment is constant and opinions are plenty, I face the critics head on.
Every single genre personality who is also a producer and entrepreneur. Her name is Mutale Mwanza.
I am Mutale Mwanza. I stand tall and I refuse to let the chaos of life break my spirit. You know what? To shutting down the haters.
I am multiple dating.
The future is exciting as I blaze a trail of success, proving that every challenge is just another opportunity for greatness as I build my legacy.
I'm going to Malawi.
What is happening with this language?
Mutale Mwanza Unscripted Season 2.
This month on DSTV Premium, UEFA Euro 2024 kicks off in Germany as footballing legends fight for continental supremacy. The madcap panel of comics are back to retell hilarious stories from their formative years.
Blowing the whistle on their adolescent chisel.
And the epic prequel to Game of Thrones returns as civil war threatens to tear House Targaryen apart.
I mean to fight this war.
There's so much to enjoy on your home of entertainment, so upgrade to DSTV Premium.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving the good people of Milanzi an opportunity to add their voice on the motion on the floor of the House, and indeed the women of Zambia.
Ms. Melisiana Piri is Milanzi Member of Parliament under the Patriotic Front. She is the second woman to serve the people of Milanzi in Eastern Province. She sits on the Public Accounts Committee, and she's a trained journalist who once worked for the Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation, ZNBC. She stands as a beacon of change as the second ever woman to represent the people of Milanzi constituency.
I was born in Katete, partly raised there, and on the Copper Belt, Luansha in particular. I come from a family of 10, 5 girls, 5 boys. Mom and dad are late. I went to Dole Primary School in Katete, where I did my primary education, and later moved to Boma Basic School, where I partly did my junior secondary, and then migrated to the Copper Belt, where I completed my senior secondary school at Luansha Girls Secondary School. From there, I went to college to pursue a diploma in journalism at Africa Literature Center, then joined ZNBC Studios, where I worked for close to 22 years. I have a postgraduate diploma in media management. I have a master's degree in international journalism. I decided to call it quits in 2021 to go into politics.
Ms. Piri was talkative as a young girl, hence her sisters are not surprised that she is now a politician.
I was like a little girl in the house. Yeah, I was living with my older sister, who is the firstborn in our family. So I should say that I had a very good family support system. In short, everyone else gave me the support that I needed. They say I was very talkative and very stubborn. That's what my elder sisters would always say, that you know what, we're not surprised that you've gone into politics because you're very stubborn and you're very talkative.
Ms. Piri now talks about what prompted her to join politics.
I wanted to contribute to the development of my home place. I wanted to do it while I'm still young, while I'm still energetic, but also to give back to the community that raised me, that contributed to my educational background. I think that that's what really prompted me to go into politics. I wanted to have to be their voice, because Milanzi is one of the poorest constituencies in Zambia. We lack clean drinking water, inadequate school, health infrastructure, poor road network, and I thought that I could be their voice to lobby for development in these areas that are lacking. I wanted to ensure that the girl child growing up in the village could also be raised and be given an opportunity, just like I was given an opportunity to go to school.
She admits that working for ZNBC definitely influenced her to join politics because of the exposure she had with the masses.
As a journalist, you get to meet different people. You learn a lot of things. You are exposed to various experiences, and I think it's also one of the contributing factors that made me to go into politics. I had mingled a lot with politicians, and I thought probably I could also be one of them. I could also be one of the people to speak on behalf of masses, and those masses are the people that contributed to who I am today.
She now shares the experience leading to the 2021 general elections, starting with the adoption process, describing it as not easy.
Not an easy experience. Some people always ask me, how did you manage to get adopted as a first timer, but also win an election as a first timer? Not an easy journey. The adoption process is one of the challenging experiences that women go through. One, political parties will give preference to men. Why? Because of a number of factors. They look at your financial muscle, financial capacity, but also many are the times that women are not given first priority. You are looked down. They always think you cannot deliver, and the adoption process requires money. There are nomination fees that need to be paid. Luckily, I had the nomination fee. You are competing against men who have, like I've said, that they have the financial muscle, and they have the support of their fellow men. First of all, even the panels that are interviewing you in these adoption interviews, they are dominated by men. So it's a male-dominated environment. It's not easy for a woman to get an adoption. But for me, I had to work for it. I had to plan, and I prepared adequately. That's how I got the adoption.
Mm-hmm. And how was the feeling when you won?
Awesome. It's an awesome experience. I think that's where now you start beginning to think, okay, so now I have to do what I have promised my people. People now are looking up to you to deliver the campaign promises. It's another experience where you really have to now work hard.
She now talks about her experience being a member of parliament.
It's been phenomenal, very. I've had to learn a number of things, but also to experience things that I saw from afar. I thought that it would be an easy experience to deliver what you promised, but not an easy task, because you need money, you need time, which is very limited because of the many things that we do as members of parliament, and you've got to lobby for development, and these deliverables don't come easily. Sometimes you're told there's no money to build a school. You're told there's no money to build a waterway bridge, and your people are on you, and you know that if this bridge is not fixed, it's going to affect a lot of things. One, transportation of people, goods, food production. So, not an easy task.
Ms. Piri has a strong support system. She now talks about the people that help her navigate through her job.
Luckily, I have a very strong family support system, but also the party that I belong to, the political party, the Patriotic Front, and friends and extended family. I think that these groups have been there for me, and family, my older sisters and brothers have stood and given all the support that I need. I should say that the traditional leadership in the constituency has been there, working together with me and the community to ensure that we deliver on what people are expected us to deliver on. So it's been a very good in terms of getting support from the community as well as family.
She is determined to forge on despite the challenges that politics comes with.
Oh, frustrations are there, and I can't say that I regret anything. I joined politics knowing very well of the challenges that are in politics. So I don't regret the move that I took, because if I do, it means that I would have, disappointed a lot of people that are looking up to me to deliver. Challenges are there, a lot. Like I'm saying that, I represent a very poor constituency and resources are not adequate. Those are some of the challenges. Not only that, as a woman in leadership, it's not easy. Not everyone will accept you as a woman who is in leadership. Men will tend to undermine you, to look down on you, but also the stereotype, the name calling, political violence. All these are challenges that I've had to experience. How have I overcome them? I think it's to remain steadfast, to still stay focused on your vision, to be courageous. If there are women that are thinking, okay, it's all rosy in politics, no, it's not. You have to be courageous. The challenges are real.
Ms. Piri now talks about what she does during her spare time.
Time is very limited because of the many things that we do. I take time to listen to gospel music. I enjoy gospel music. Yeah. And I also do spare some time to update myself on what is happening around the world. I listen and watch news and current affairs. And I love traveling. Sometimes I'll just spare some time, travel out of town.
Ms. Melisiana Piri has a word of advice to women who want to join politics.
Some women fear the political, to enter the political field because of the many challenges. Don't fear. The challenges are there. And I think that in every other field, there are equally challenges. But there is a way that you can overcome them. Don't fear. Try once. If you don't make it, try again. Keep on trying. But the challenges are there. All you need to do is to plan. People who venture into politics because somebody told them, no, you can do it, and you start to have money, or maybe you somebody. No. It has to come from you. It has to come from you. What is it that you want to do? Is it politics? Go in there. Prepare yourself psychologically, emotionally, financially.
Ms. Mediciana Piri believes that women can make it in politics with adequate preparation.
At Toyota, my first time in office. I'm married to a beautiful lady, and we have got 4 children. I started my grade 1 actually in 1974 at Chama Primary School. From there, I went briefly to Chipata, Feni, where I did my grade 6. That was 1981. After that, I went to Sairi Primary School. That was in Chipata, in Chief Mpezeni's area, where I did my grade 7. That was 1982. From 1983, I was selected to go to Chama Boys Secondary School. So I did my secondary education at Chama Secondary School from 1983 to 1989. And I think someone would ask to say, but why did you take 7 years? It happened that in grade 11, 1986, there was a protest at school over poor dad. So I was expelled from school. But I fought very hard, and the minister at that time, Honorable Basil Kaumehiso, rest in peace, was the Minister of General Education and Culture at that time. They instituted me, and I went back to Chama Secondary School and completed the 2 years later. I think after I completed my grade 12 in 1989, I started as a trained teacher in Chama Kapchira Primary School before I migrated to the Copper Belt for greener pasture. And in 1990, I joined the Zambia Electricity Supply Corporation, ZESCO. And while at ZESCO, I think I got interested in the trade union movement. I started as a shop steward. I rose through the structures from shop steward to the position of general secretary of the national energy sector and the allied workers union. My constituency is in Eastern Province. I think some few years ago it was in Chinga Province, but in the first place it was in Eastern Province. But when the President Sata became president, he decided to realign Chama to Mchinga. And now President Hakainde Hichilema has decided to take Chama back to Eastern Province. So my constituency is one of the vast constituencies in this country, and which has so many challenges. And able to one of the Sandelela districts in Zambia since independence. I think the people of Chama have not really they have not received a fair share of the national cake. We have so many challenges. Road network is very bad in Chama. However, we are addressing these road challenges, and I'm happy that the new government has been able to listen to us, and I think something is done in that area. I think people have been crying over the Chama Rundas Road. People have been crying over Chama Matumbo Road. And I think the new government, they want to continue where the PF left. So I can assure the people of Chama that the issue of the road network, I think, is being addressed in a more proactive manner. I think the other challenges we have is that electrification, Chama has not benefited from the rural electrification since the inception. However, we get to the government, and so far I'm happy that Chama North was the first constituency to be visited by the Rural Electrification Authority. So I can assure the people of Chama that I'm working very hard to ensure that at least out of 13 wards, we only have one ward which has electricity, that's Kamheba ward. But very soon I think the people of Chama will be able to also benefit, enjoy the electricity. And I'm happy that ZESCO is working day and night to ensure that Chama is connected to the national electricity grid. I think the other challenges we'll be facing there is the issue of water. You know, from independence, our people have been confronted with a lot of challenges. And you see most of our women draw water from infested crocodile-infested rivers. And every year we record fatalities. And because of that, we have put a radical plan. We are drilling a number of boreholes where we invested a lot of money in the water education. So I'm very confident that before the end of this year, I think the people of Chama, the problem of water, I think will be resolved very soon. And also the government is also supplementing. They are giving us boreholes. So with also the boreholes from the CDF, I'm sure that the issue of water, our people being killed by reptiles, I think may be a thing of the past. So communication network, there are some words which don't have communication network. Chivale, that is in Kanhawadi, Chiruanama, Mazonde, in Lundu, there is no mobile communication network, and we engage the government. And I'm happy to assure the people of Chama that very soon those areas are going to communication towers will be installed, and I think the government has already done the tendering. I'm very sure that before the end of this year, if communication towers are not installed this year, I'm very sure that in the first half of 2023, the communication towers are going to be installed. Man-animal conflict has been a huge problem for the people of Chama. You know, Chama was classified as a game management area in 1947. So up to this time, the government has not repealed that act. So there is a lot of challenges that our people have been facing. People are being killed by animal conflict. You know, crops, farming products are being eaten by animals. So the situation is quite so desperate. And I want to appeal to the government that I don't think that the animals must have dominion over human beings. I think God created man to have dominion over everything, including animals. But the way it is now, it is very sad that the majority, if you go to Runda's prison, you go to Chinsari prison, a lot of people are in prison from Chama only game, only wildlife-related crimes. People are being sentenced 5 years, 10 years in prison with hard labor. I want to appeal to this government that I think there's a need that we must repeal some of these repressive laws. People are found with just a piece of meat in the home. They're taken to the police and then they are being jailed for so many years. So I feel that there's a need that the government must put measures to ease man-animal conflict. So in a nutshell, I think these are the challenges Chama North is facing, and this is what we are doing. And I think we are using CDF very effectively. We are empowering 101 cooperatives, and in Chama North we are doing it without segregation. That's why there's no outcry, and I've made sure that this CDF is taxpayers' money. I don't want anyone to be segregated just because I'm a member of parliament from PF, then we only favor PF. That is not there in Chama North. So for me, I'm working well with the UPND and the other political parties. So we are empowering 101 cooperatives. For the first quarter CDF, we empowered 3 cooperatives. And I feel that everyone, each ward, we are distributing grants equitably without segregating at all. And to address the problem of road challenges, we are buying road equipment, so that we are able to open up our constituency, because Chama has vast potential in terms of wildlife. We have a lot of minerals there like gypsum, emeralds, which remains unexploited. But if we open the road network, the district is opened, I'm very sure that we are going to attract more investors, especially that Chama is one of the leading districts in terms of rice production in this country. So Chama can feed the whole Zambia or the whole of this country if at all we are able to address some of these challenges our farmers have been facing. Apart from the CDF, I've said that I've been very proactive in engaging the government, and I'm very proud that in the less than 1 year, in 1 year I've been in office, I explained that one, already the road development agents, they have advertised the Chama Matumbo Road and Chama Rundazi Road to be developed to bituminous standards under the PPP private-public partnership. And the people of Chama have been crying for this road network from independence. They have lived on broken promises. You see, and I want to pay tribute to the late President Michael Sata. Chama was not the way it is now. When Mr. Sata became president, he changed the face of Chama. That's why today Mr. Sata is highly glorified in Chama. So I'm happy that the new government wants to continue where the PF left. So RDA has advertised, and we are hoping that very soon we may have investors so that they can develop that road. And once that road is done, it will open up a lot of economic activity, because the shortest route to the port of Dar es Salaam, the entire eastern province, some district in Malawi, and also in Mozambique. So that road is very critical. The other one, the bridges, and we have managed, at least we have managed, the new government has put in the supplementary budget, which we recently approved, on the Kampemba Bridge and the Luangwa Bridge. And we are pushing that the Minister of Finance can raise those funds so that as quick as possible these bridges can be constructed. I've also engaged the government on the issue of our men and the women in uniform. If you go to Chama, you'll be shocked that the police station, which is called the police station, is a makeshift police station. I can call it as a police post. And I'm happy that the Honorable Jack Mumbo has assured the people of Chama that a modern police station is going to be built in Chama, and also 95 staff houses for our men and women in uniform. To me, that is an achievement. In terms of education, we have managed to secure a day secondary school in Mbazi Ward, the first of its kind, which will be funded by the World Bank. You see, so these are some of the projects, developmental agenda, which so far we have managed to achieve. So in the nutshell, I think I want to dedicate myself in the next 1 year, before the end of 2023. I think the people of Chama are going to see a change. They are going to see the real change they had wanted, and I have no doubt that before my term of office comes to an end, using constituency development fund effectively and also lobbying the government, I am very sure that I think Chama will be put at another level come 2026. At the moment, my appeal to everyone is that this is not a time for politics. Politics will come in 2026. So for me, I will embrace everyone, the ruling party, because we must also realize that the UPND is in government. So if we don't work with them, then we can't get development in Chama. So I have encouraged my councillors and all the party structure that at the moment, let's give support to the current government which is in office, so that the people of Chama can also receive a fair share of the national gain. But where they go wrong, we not state. That's why we are there as opposition to provide checks and balances. So I think that's what I can say on the issue of developmental agenda for Chama North constituency. Yai hapa kulomba waka asenga mosi na mosi kwa Chama kuti please ine kumongera ntomene pa vote ya mkanivotera maona pa nyengo idokwaka ivintu asebezerapo so masuzi yomwe zikanga pa nkhani ya maji, nkhani ya miseu, nkhani ya communication towers, nkhani ya vipatala maona kwa chipate kula kwa hivi chipatala chikulu yayi but nikwanisha kuyoshana na government kula kulage mini hospital kwa Chibale na road ya kwa Chibale nishita manage ndalama baboma bepeleka 8 milioni kwacha kuti vichi ila ndoa ya kwa Chibale bamalize na Chibale boarding school ndalama zilifuma kufuma kuboma so tibe bantu okolejana pa nyengo ino ni nyengo ya ndale yayi pata bantu okolejana vipali vyose ba church na wose ma stakeholders ngumanya kuti mu 2026 mzambona mweka imwe kwa chama kuti kasi chitukuja tikapenjanga nicho chitukuja cha vichi nicho tilinacho pa nyengo ino ndigokeo kupadokwaka makamaka pa nkhani ya maji ngumanya before chaka chijemala chino aya masuzi ya maji ya malenge so tibe bantu okolejana wambula kuti nkhana yayi.
Zosta Halloween Dipiri, member of Parliament for Kabwe Central Constituency, born in a village called Hakwambwa, and that is the village Chiwabala. I was born in 1971, meaning I'm now 51 years old. That's my actual age. So I did my primary school there, and later on I went to high school called St. Joseph's Secondary School in Monze. And when I graduated and finished my grade 12, I went for nursing school. I trained at UTH as a registered nurse and got a diploma in nursing. And when I was there, I performed very well. I got actually, if I can remember, 3 awards. From there, the minister by then, who was Mr. Michael Sata, was very happy with my performance, with the awards that I got, and I was asked, where do you want to be posted? And I chose Central Province. I'd never been to Central Province by that time. I was posted to Kabwe General Hospital by that time. So I just served the government there for 3 years. Then I decided to go on voluntary separation. That was in 1999. So from that time, I joined the private life where I started doing business, opened my own companies, and did several trainings because I decided even to take more challenging job as a contractor. So I trained under National Council for Construction in various fields with several certificates. Then because I diversified and I wanted to make sure that what I was doing is perfect in the business, I decided to do a degree in business administration and entrepreneurship, which I got an award, the bachelor's degree, business administration and entrepreneurship from Longush University. And I also proceeded to start my master's, of which I'm yet to finish. So I'm just remaining to write the exams in the same field, business administration and entrepreneurship. So I'm married with 5 children. I'm married to Mr. Gordon Piri, and I've got 5 children. I've got 3 boys and 2 girls. My constituency, as I said earlier on, is the Kabwe Central Constituency, which is right in town, that's in Kabwe, and I think 90% is urban and 10% is rural. Kabwe Central Constituency is a constituency that have been led by male MPs since independence. So I was the first female MP to be voted in, and the 7th female MP. This is the constituency, despite being in town, which is very underdeveloped. And I'm happy to say that on August 12, 2021, they decided to vote for me. And now I can assure you that at least we have moved a mile for the past 1 year that I've been in office.
I've taken the model of inclusiveness, where we work together with our people in the community to make sure that we develop our central constituency. And the most unfortunate thing is that Cabo Central constituency have got no industries. So there's too much unemployment as at now. And this is what we are trying to make sure that we work on employment creation, through even the private sectors, to make sure that our people are empowered, that they are able to make sure that they support on their own, they do their own businesses, even including in agriculture, because we are surrounded by farmers. The land, Cabo is surrounded by farmers, commercial farmers, subsistence farmers, and that is one sector that we want to develop to make sure that our people they find something to do. My developmental agenda, first thing is what I'm looking at, what do people want? I want to make sure that we do what people want, because this time even the new government had decentralized. I do not want to impose. So that's why I said I'm engaging a lot of people in the constitution to make sure that we do what people want. One thing is people have complained about the road network is very bad. So we had a contractor whose contract was terminated because of maybe overpricing. But as at now, what I did immediately, I was voted in, because I knew that was a major problem that I have. I had to make sure that I engage RDA to make sure that they fund us to do at least the maintenance works. The roads that are impassable in the compounds should be passable during the rainy season. And right now, that's a project that I've embarked on. We are working very well, and people are happy about that. And I've asked so many questions in Parliament to make sure that the executive should make sure that they also give us good road network, especially between us roads. As you are aware that Kabwe is the highest constituency or town that is contaminated by lead. And we want to make sure that our roads are worked on to a bituminous standard. So this is my number one agenda. Number two, I want to make sure that at least people are empowered. And through the CDF, which was increased, we are making sure that we are empowering our people so they can start small businesses. Each time there is a call for any form of empowerment, be it youth, be it from CAC, be it women empowerment, we are encouraging our people to apply so that they are empowered. We improve the private sector. We are also actually looking at improving, especially the agriculture sector. As I said earlier on, we want to make sure people realize that they can improve their livelihood through even agriculture. We are surrounded by good land that our people can use to make sure that we improve our agriculture sector. And we are also working to make sure that right now we are drilling a borehole, about 13 boreholes in our constituency. We want to make sure that the water is available for our people, especially women, that they do not walk long distances. We have also lobbied through the Ministry of Water and Sanitation to make sure that our water network is worked on. You can imagine this time that our water filtration system is very old. The pipes are leaking nearly every day. But through that, even from this current budget, I'm told that money will be sourced to make sure the water problem in Kabwe will be worked on. Yes, and the other things that we want to do is that to make sure that our, as I've said, my constituency is partly rural. We are also taking deep tanks. We want to make sure that we help our farmers, make sure that their animals do not die from diseases. We are also making sure that we build more schools. You know, with the pronouncement of free education, we have seen a number of enrollment such that our classrooms are crowded. So we have, right now, there are contracts that are running. They have already started constructing schools, classroom blocks, and also we have started even making desks so that our children do not sit on the floor. So these are some of the things that we are making sure that we are doing. Apart from that, we want to make sure that we introduce the business model to the government of agriculture hub, of which right now I'm pushing that agenda. So that if we have an agriculture hub, we'll make sure that we'll have even a value addition processing plants that will be constructed. We'll have many farmers who will engage themselves to farm, because they have a market where they'll be selling their chicken for processing. They will take their animals for beef will be processed. All sorts of agriculture, tomatoes, they want to go to West. We'll have somewhere where we can sell. I'm seriously looking into that to make sure that this will be our turnaround in terms of unemployment. Because we're going to see a lot of our youth getting employed even in these agricultural hubs. We're going to see a lot of people even being employed in terms of even engaging to agriculture to make sure that our economic status changes in our constituency. they should take advantage of government programs, especially empowerment programs. Our youth, we have seen that Ministry of Youth and Sports, there are so many empowerment programs that they have rolled out, and to make sure they visit the offices of DC to make sure that they find out what particular empowerment program is rolled out at a particular time. Even from CEC, they can visit these government offices. We have an open door policy, and even visit the MP's office, that is their office, to find out what programs are there, so they do not lag behind. In terms of applying even for under empowerment or CDF, let them take advantage of these programs and make sure that we work together. It is only when we join hands and work together that we can achieve meaningful development in our constituents. It is not a one-man show. It is a concerted effort with all the stakeholders to make sure that we work together to develop our constituency.
The 17 Sustainable Development Goals are a global call to action to end poverty, protect the environment, and ensure that people everywhere enjoy peace and prosperity. Achieving these Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, by 2030 is crucial. The crew toured the 3 districts, namely Kasama, Nyimba, and Katombola, to assess progress made on some Sustainable Development Goals. Many African countries face high poverty levels, and Sustainable Development Goal number 1 aims at eradicating poverty in all forms. In Kasama district, Mr. Mwela Musonda is Luombe cooperative chairperson and shares how the cooperative is responding to SDG number 1.
As things stand now and where we are standing, one can see that in a small area like last year, we had to plant more than 1 crop in a small area, and we have to harvest enough food for us in a small area, meaning that we have improved and maybe we have shifted from the traditional of doing agriculture, where we used to cultivate same area, and then after they had run out of fertility, again we shift to another area. It's not the case today.
Initiatives aimed at improving food security, promote sustainable farming practices is top on the Zambian government agenda. Mr. John Chilunjika is Senior Agriculture Officer in Kasama District and explains how the region is responding to ending hunger in the area.
We have foreseen transformation in terms of mindset of our farmers, because we have what are called SIPs, Sustainable Intensification Practices, where farmers are practicing climate smart agriculture in terms of not burning the crop residue. The farmers, after planting, they are just saving the crop residue, so that these help in terms of enhancing soil fertility, as well as just to increase on production. The farmers are also embrace the concepts of the minimum soil disturbance. In as much as we are in Region 3, where we see rains above 1,200 millimeters, we are seeing these effects now of dry stores for Kasama, droughts in some cases. We have maybe 10 days of no rains. So we have actually taken it up our minister, so that though we are in Region 3, issues to do with minimum soil disturbance is actually also embraced our farmers. But we reduce on terms of soil disturbance. So our farmers just doing reaping, what is called reaping, and plant the crop. We have seen quite a good establishment in these fields.
And Mayba resettlement in Northwestern Province is making strides in realizing SDG number 2. Mr. Victor Nanga is project coordinator, Mayba Field Office under Caritas Czech Republic. It highlights how the resettlement is faring on SDG 2.
We have got the agriculture-related programs and the non-agriculture-related programs. So under the agriculture-related programs, we focus on the production. We have got the production component, the value addition component, and also the marketing component. Under the production component, there are some value chains we have established where we are supporting farmers. We have supported farmers with the inputs. So we have got a rice value chain where we have supported a number of farmers with improved rice variety. That's the Mongo Super Rice, which could compete with other varieties on the market. Then we have got the soybeans value chain where we have supported a number of soybeans farmers with the soybeans seeds, and also we have got a vegetable value chain where we have supported a number of refugees and the host community within the settlement with some vegetable seeds. So the overall aim of our livelihood programs is to promote self-reliance amongst the refugees and also the host community. That would reduce dependence on government, on UNHCR and other donors. And also it would reduce inequality amongst the people we are working with within the settlement.
Another constituency responding positively to SDG number 2 is Katombola in Southern Province. At Kabuyu Bulking Center, farmers have come together to form a cooperative. They buy and stock farming products from small-scale farmers and sell when the commodity is on high demand. This is under the Strengthening Climate Resilience of Agriculture, Livelihoods and Agroecological Region project. Mrs. Angela Siudikwa, a member of the center, explains how members are earning a living from the initiative.
We started buying the commodities in 2021. We decided to buy sunflower, maize, and cowpeas. We supplied to World Food Program because they wanted cowpeas to supply to the areas they wanted to feed people around Central Africa. And then later we got a contract with the education sector in Kazungula district where we supplied in schools, we supplied maize and cowpeas.
Good health and well-being is everyone's desire, and sustainable development goal number 3 aims at achieving the challenges faced in the provision of good health. In Ngimba, the area member of parliament, Mr. Menyani Zulu, shares some of the efforts being implemented in meeting the state targets of SDG number 3 in his constituency.
I've received